You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Snap, the kick, it's been blocked again! Oh my! It's been blocked again! It's going to heat one, keep down the field, it's going to be to the goal line, it's going to be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyreek Cleveland! Oh my! I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw, pops and fires the ball over the middle, it's Terry! It's Terry! Got a touchdown! Terry got a touchdown! Oh man! Terry's got a touchdown! Hands it off to Harmon, he comes back, say goodbye!
Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out a winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium and Gale.
Ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium and Gale. It's your boy Corey.
It's Dan.
Delatorre.
And Jordan Scarlett, baby, what's going on?
What up, 2-5?
Yes, sir.
In the building. How y'all feeling, man? I know we like to do our weekend catch up. The vibes is great right now in Gainesville in the 352, man. But first and foremost, man. But how was y'all weekend?
Weekend was good. Obviously, big Gators victory. Went to Lightning game and then came down to South Florida on yesterday. So down here in beautiful Coral Springs till Friday. Played some golf today. Going boating tomorrow. I'm going to celebrate the holidays down here and then head back up. So can't complain. Great weather. So no complaints on my end. Shot and hit the golf ball very well today. Pristine conditions.
Kept it in the fairways.
Good. Yep. Some great shots. Jordan, how's your weekend, buddy?
My weekend was pretty good, man. We got the dub. That was a great game to watch, man. I was tuned in from the beginning to end, and just pretty casual, man, with the family. Had a little family dinner on Sunday. Got together on Saturday for a little bit. So overall, it was just a pretty chill weekend for me. Happy to sit down and kick my feet up, knowing my Gator boys won.
Yeah. It's Thanksgiving week, so I know you got no practice. Football season over. It's been chill vibes. Y'all got any Thanksgiving plans cooking up?
Yeah, I actually do got practice, man. You know, we just won our last playoff game, so we in the third round playoffs. So we got practice this week coming up. But I'm excited for it.
Okay, shout out to Big Jack.
He's used to that. St. Thomas always played past Thanksgiving. He had to show up morning practice before.
It's tradition at this point.
He had to practice when he was at Florida before the FSU week. It's a big week. Don't eat too much turkey. You got to go play in Tallahassee.
That's what's up.
Go ahead, Corey. I had a long update, so you can go.
Hey, man, yeah. You got birthday vibes, man. I'm gonna get out of your way, bro. I don't want to. You got the main stage. You're the main event today, my dude. Happy birthday, man.
Yeah.
But no big Thanksgiving plans. Not traveling this year. Just been chilling, so no big Thanksgiving plans. The weekend didn't do a whole lot. Took my son, dropped him off, let him go fishing. I just watched football all Saturday, bro. First Saturday that I didn't have, second Saturday I didn't have Little League, no obligations, so just sat around the crib, and the Gators did what they had to do, man. Happy birthday, Nick. What's up with it?
Yeah.
It's your time to shine, buddy. It's your birthday.
Yeah, 36. It's my Jerome Bettis year. Is that
what we're doing?
36, but Jerome Bettis is a good one. The bus.
Yeah.
Bus year.
Last week was wild.
We'll throw your biggest fan up here, Nick.
Mudkip, I'm sorry. Listen, I might be available to coach, just not right now. Last week was tough. I've been talking to Florida Victorious for about 2 weeks, ever since the departure at On 3. Was excited about that. But Wednesday we had to put my boy down, Boomer, my guy. Got him after I got out of the 6th year. My dog, yeah. Got him after I got out of
my guy
relationship. Guy, Boomer's my guy, my roadie.
I know, but you know what that means. Let's just clarify for the crowd that doesn't follow you on Instagram.
Yeah, my little pug, Boomer. He's with me for 12 years. Great guy. Cancer sucks. but it was an emotional day then, and I signed my contract with Florida Victorious right after that, and fun. I'm excited. I get to write stories about the players, get to work closely with the coaching staff, with the players across sports, tell stories about the gymnasts, the basketball players, women's, men's, baseball, softball, across the board. So I'm excited about the new move. It's also got me in the logo for the first time since 2012. I've got the Gator logo on all my Florida Victorious stuff. So I'm rocking the logo again.
Nice.
And it might not be me. I'm not one to take credit, as you guys know. But since starting to talk with Florida Victorious and then signing my contract, Florida is 2-0. So I'm not saying it's me. I would never be one to put the spotlight on myself, but could just be a coincidence.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Detachment.
I know the vibes are going to be a lot more positive coming from Nick's upward right corner up there on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, I've always been positive. They've called me Positive Nick for years.
Whoa.
Sunshine pumper, orange and blue glasses. Sometimes it's hard to be objective when.
Yeah, we're taking Nick out for a second. That's egregious.
Time out, man. Birthday time out. A little birthday time out, man.
Put me in time out on my birthday.
Mudkip has a question. Is Nick staying on with the show? Nick, you staying on with the show?
Absolutely. Same corner, same time. These are my guys here. Not
vibes,
like
man.
my dog, my other guys.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, winning vibes since you detached from On 3, man. I know you can't talk smack, but I can throw a few shots here, man. Like, they can't sue me. Yeah, winning vibes, man. Maybe we could get Corey and Zach and them boys get off. We might go undefeated next year. Who knows, man? No?
Program trajectory is up.
Yeah. No, shout out to Nick.
Man.
Obviously, a ton of updates in his world. We appreciate everybody that's come over from Florida Victorious. And if you want to join, help support NIL, you can go floridavictorious.com to go to support players. And you can even designate who, what sports you give money to. For instance, I have switched my donation to men's golf. Many of you wonder maybe why I did men's golf, because it's a drop in the bucket for football, but it's maybe a monsoon for men's golf. So we're gonna do men's golf over on mine. So go ahead and do that. But
96 club member, Dan?
I'm sorry?
96 club member?
No, got to see some better results. Well, I guess the golf team brought us a national championship recently, so I should do that to support them. Yeah, no, that's a good call. Maybe I'll up the bets. Let's get into the show. Corey, why don't you start us off with an ad read and with Brunt Insurance, and we'll get on with the show.
If you need anything insured, and I mean absolutely anything, your life, auto, mobile home, trailer, golf cart, motorcycle, man, a pug, maybe the dog.
I don't think they do pet insurance.
Too soon.
I think that's where the buck stops.
Too soon. My bad, man. Get Greg a call. Greg got you at Brunt Insurance and Financial Service, 954-589-2204. From the Panhandle to the Keys, he can take care of you. The quotes are absolutely free. Perfect time of the year to save some money, right? Just give him a call or shoot the website, and that quote don't cost you a dime. He possibly could save you some money. He saved me some money in the past, definitely through my homeowner's insurance and some other insurance that we got with Greg. I've been rocking with him for years. So if you anywhere in the Southeast, hit him up, 954-589-2204. Big coverage, big policies.
Greg, what it do, baby?
Yes,
What
sir.
it do? All right, boys. The Gators rattle off their second consecutive victory over a ranked team by beating Ole Miss in the Fighting Lane Kiffins 24-17. Going to halftime, tied 14-14. Going to the fourth quarter, tied 17-17. The Gators scored the lone touchdown in the fourth quarter. Pick off Jackson Dart. We'll call it 2.5 times. We almost had another one in there, but pick off Jackson Dart twice to end the game. He wallows in despair. He stood in the exact same place Tim Tebow did. Well, I guess he was in the visitor locker room, but on the opposite side of that game, same two teams playing, and apologize to his fans for blowing that one. But the Gators walk away with another decisive victory. They do earn 4 votes into the AP top 25. So still unranked, but getting votes for the first time in a long time. So, but we are not a podcast of just moral victories. We are going to talk about this game. We're going to talk about the positives. We're going to talk about the negatives. We're going to talk about our overall thoughts about this program as well. So, Jordan, Jordan left. Nick, why don't we start with you? What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, this is we've kind of seen Florida struggle to keep momentum, and I thought the way, especially the defense looked, but the way that the team was able to beat LSU, an LSU team who, when they came to Gainesville, still had an outside chance in the scheme of things. Hey, if they went out, they might be an at-large team in the playoff. That was a possibility. It would have taken some other teams to lose, but LSU was, for all intents and purposes, still playing for a potential playoff spot.
Absolutely.
Florida defensively handled LSU. I think they win that game, and you have so much momentum. You beat LSU, who had owned you over the last decade and a half, who had won 5 in a row. To win that game, end it in a victory formation. I've just seen Florida, not be able to handle, to use a Jim McElwain term, getting their bellies scratched and having people say nice things about them. And maybe you start feeling good about yourself and you don't handle your business the same kind of way. And then have a letdown the following week. And I was almost worried that, hey, this is a really good Ole Miss team, and an Ole Miss team who is essentially in a playoff game to make the playoffs. They needed to win out. And you get on the board first. It's not super pretty offensively. I think 4 yards in the third quarter, but you stick it out. You find a way to win. The defense, again, gets to Jackson Dart, a defense playing without their fifth-year senior transfer safety and Asa Turner, without cornerback 1, cornerback 2, cornerback 3, or your starting nickel. At some point, someone's like, man, this defense is getting torched. I'm like, yeah, dude. The guys that are playing right now were third and fourth string 3 weeks ago, a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And there's depth charts for a reason. So for those guys to step up and play the way that they did, for Bryce Thornton to get 2 picks in the fourth quarter, Bryce Thornton caught as many Jackson Dart passes as Ole Miss players caught. So for the defense,
that's a stat, Nick.
That's a stat.
That's a good stat. I like that.
Stats you like are good.
Yeah.
So for the team to handle success and take it into the next week and build upon that, now I think you have an opportunity this week to go and smack a bad FSU team to end a 2-game losing streak to them. I loved what Billy Napier said today. He said, this is, I think, the most important game of the year, and not because it's the next one, which is the politically correct thing to say. We talked to Jordan Castell, whose grandma was talking smack to him last year because she graduated from FSU. That's the kind of rivalry Florida State is, when your grandma is talking smack to you after you lost a football game. That's the kind of rivalry it is, and that's how
I smacked 5 from my grandma. She talked crazy about my Gators.
How dare you? Would never.
By the way, can I just make a quick comment so I don't forget? We've got to do a better job of some of these announcers reading the pronunciation guide, because it took me a second. The play-by-play announcer kept calling him Castile. I'm like, who the hell is Castile? They doesn't even look like Castile. You know what I mean? So we got to do a better job, play-by-play guys.
Yeah, you got to earn the right to have your name said right.
No, I think you deserve to have your name right when it's a pretty easy. If he was French,
he earned it. He earned it at some point in the game.
If his name was Claude or Jean, then Castile might be a fit.
When number 92 Jabari Zuniga was on the team.
Whoa, Nick!
People were coming over to Florida's SID and we'd be like, "Hey,
clear it up
before the game starts." Number 92 on defense. Can you? But get these get this lane train back on track. I think Florida now has an opportunity with 2 big wins where you're underdogs at home to ranked opponents. You go and you smack FSU and that losing streak, 2-game losing streak to them, a chance to win a bowl game and finish the season 8-5. DJ Lagway looks to be, and he's going to get better. The completion percentage is what it is. It's probably going to be around 55% at the end of the year. That will continue to get better. Some of the plays he made against Ole Miss, and Dan, if we can like cue some of those up, I think Cole Kublix spent an entire Sunday.
Not allowed. Last time we did it, we got flagged for using copyrighted content.
Don't do it. Some of the throws he made, there's probably a handful of guys, not even in college, but a handful of guys that can make that play.
A couple
guys want to play for him. I think Florida's NIL is in a good place. Now that I'm on the inside, I can see some of the books. NIL is in a good place. I think the narrative all last year that we beat you guys over the head with was, man, the schedule is so tough. And look at it. All the SEC did was flip-flop it, and it's the same schedule next year. If you, again, we might need to make sure it's saying portal pending. Portal pending, if Florida keeps the guys they want to keep and picks up a couple pieces, I think the narrative this offseason won't be, look how hard Florida's schedule is. It will be, those guys have to come play Florida. They have to come play DJ Lagway and Jack Pyburn and Miles Graham and Aaron Childs and Jordan Castell. I think we're watching the narrative slowly shift. And it's a credit to Billy Napier, the coaching staff, who kept these guys from quitting. I think human nature, it's easy to quit after you get embarrassed twice on your home floor and you're like, you know what? This ain't it. Let's just coast, not get hurt, don't get injured, and we'll see you next year. And that hasn't happened. And I'm not telling you need to lower your expectations or lower the floor. I say that just to be like, hey, it takes a good coaching job to keep the guys invested after you looked the way you did the first 3 games.
Yeah, overall, man, well said, Nick. Well said.
Yeah.
Overall, I think just a great win, a much needed win. Felt good going into this game. Long as Lagway was a quarterback, I feel like we could beat any team. That Texas game would have been a whole nother game had Lagway been healthy. That Georgia game would have been a whole another game had Lagway been healthy. That Miami game would have been a whole nother game had Lagway got more just touches and played more. If not even started, bro. The kid's just special. So I don't want to harp on the offense too much. The offensive line, I think, did a good job. Offense overall did a good job. Outside of the third quarter, it got stale in the third quarter. We had 5 total yards, which is crazy. So we got to, just be just, a little understanding of the entire situation. While we won the game, there still was some flashes of we need an offensive coordinator,
Yeah.
But defense, it's got to give flowers to the defense, man. Them folks came to handle straight up business. Third play of the game, my man Gates go down. I'm just blow, oh my God. But then, had a quick realization that zero behind him and Denson. That's where that depth. That's how you say it? Depth. Yep.
Depth.
There you go. I got it right this time. That's where that comes into play, right? When you got quality depth, when somebody goes down, you have a quality guy that just steps right in, and Sharif Denson filled in and just went balls to the walls, Pauls, and handled business at that position. We didn't skip a beat. So shout out to that. Early in the game, quality guy go down, and we didn't miss him really. Just Caleb Banks is just an animal. He's been just making money every week. It's gonna be hard to keep him into college football. He's just making NFL plays at the defensive tackle position. Was the best defensive lineman, I think, in the building, which says a lot because Ole Miss defensive line is very good. But I think Caleb Banks was the best defensive lineman in the building. Thornton just came to play football. We banged up in the secondary. A lot of injured guys out. And this is this quality roster, bro. This staff, when I tell you they can evaluate and the talent has been there from game one, that's the most frustrating thing because they've been recruiting well. They've been evaluating well. We knew the talent they had on this roster. And it just showed as we got injured that the guys that filled in are quality guys. Thornton is probably a starter. I don't think he should be sitting the bench because he's just a lot of overthrows that we've been missing over the years, and we never turn them into the interceptions. Thornton turned those into interceptions this game. Kudos to him. Miles Graham, freshman, balling. They try to run fat boy.
Making tackles on a guy that weighs 325.
Yeah. Yeah. Their version of Desmond Watts, man. Miles Graham doing what he had to do. Super impressive by the young freshman, man. Freshman all over the damn field, just making just straight up plays. Third down, which drove us crazy last week, right? They figured it out this week. That's why Lane was going for it on so many fourth downs, because our third down defense was actually pretty good this week. So just an improvement from week to week with the defense. Just got to get flowers, because like Ole Miss was a playoff caliber team. Jackson Dart is an NFL first-round quarterback, like highly likely. And we came to play. While he made some throws, he made some plays. We gave up some deep balls, but from a totality of the game, you're talking 17 points from an offensive guru, is what the streets call him, right? Lane Kiffin. Yeah, man. Lane just ain't it, man. But overall, man, just super. Even Castell. Like we have I don't think he's playing the best on the back end, but he made some plays that were game-changing plays, separating ball player from the ball. Refs got the call right. Wasn't no targeting. Big play right there, right? Put one of their best receivers out of the game at some point. We just came to play good football. I just got to get the coaching staff flowers. While we did go stale in the third quarter, the play calling was frustrating. It looked like we got conservative, and we could have did some things. They got away from handing ball off the ball, and I think that made the defense go a little stale. While Montreal did have a great game, you just could see the difference in style of run. Like ball just makes some different things happen. I think you just got to continue to feed him, especially when you're struggling, especially when your run game ain't on point. Montreal's not the best at making guys miss when the offensive line is not blocking well. The offensive line was not blocking well in the third quarter. I thought Ball should have got more touches, but we came and did what we had to do and handle business in the swamp, man. It was dunking on the sidelines, man. You gotta love it.
Ooh, if you bring a basketball hoop and you lose a game, you got to take that thing with you as the team leaves. You can't leave the basketball hoop behind and not expect to be posterized.
They Princely should have took it with him.
Princely was chasing fans in full jersey.
Yeah, why was he walking down?
So what happens?
I know he left the game early. Why was he walking down the ramp?
Jordan will be able to tell you. So the visitor sideline, they walk out to where the visitors tunnel is, but you kind of go into this like under the ramp where people walk to get down to Gale Lemerand. Or that's the Gale Lemerand.
Stadium drive. No, that's stadium.
So if you walk and you don't immediately turn and go left, you're out kind of in the open where people can see you. And I think what happened is he didn't immediately turn left. He left the field with 17 seconds still 17 ticks left. But then I think he heard people yelling at him and decided to, hey, there's no need to yell. I can come closer and we can talk. Which Jordan. Wild move or reasonable move to in full uniform cleats spat run up the concourse to have a more intimate conversation with fans?
That's a big wild move right there. I can't lie. He's tripping with that one.
Yeah, he went outside, man. I don't know. Princely's got to get it. So pregame, I tweeted this out. I seen Princely just has the worst luck with pregame trash talking. He talked crazy as we went to Utah, and that came back to bite him.
Stadium.
When he wore the ski mask, I had already had the vibes. Like I said last week after we won, put Lane Kiffin on upset watch. So I already had that vibe going. And when he put that ski mask on, I was like, bro, you just gotta read the room a little better, bro. I know you've been watching these games just like we've been watching these games, Princeton. You know this is not an easy way that y'all coming in the Gainesville for, bro. But he made some decisions, and you got to live with the shit you talk. You got to be able to swallow that bullet, and he just couldn't. He lost his cool. He went out, as the kids call it, he crashed out.
Crash and burn. No, you're exactly right. Let's get into the game a little bit.
Real quick, more. There was one thing I started up here, Dan, I wanted to put up. So I met the Crawshaws. Hadn't met them in the 5 years Jeremy was here. So I met them after the game. First thing I said to Jeremy, because my sarcasm controls me, I don't control it. I said, hey, man, your last punt in the swamp was pretty terrible. And he said, they told me to kick it out of bounds. They'd rather me kick it 40 yards out of bounds than kick it 60, have him return for 30, and then it's a worse kick, or kick it for 60 and he returns it for a touchdown. And I said, well, it didn't go 40.
That's what I would say too if I muffed a punt.
And then the other thing here was they were calling plays, and I think there were some times where, specifically when Florida was on the north end, that they were punting on 4th and shorts, 4th and 3, 4th and 4 kind of thing, and that was because of where the sun was, and they were kicking to a certain side of the field. I think his first punt that Chim was back there for and almost got to, Chim lost in the sun. And if Chim is there to catch that ball, I think it would have been down to around like the 5, 6, 7 yard line. But the kicking into the sun was on purpose.
Very good. Strategic moves. I love it. All right, let's get into the game a little bit more. DJ Lagway goes 10 of 18 for 180 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ball did hit, who was it, DK's hands, but probably a little bit of an overthrow. I think that's one thing that they're going to want to work on this offseason is just kind of ball placement on those intermediate throws. But obviously makes a bunch of great passes, has a couple plays where the pocket is completely collapsed on him. Either he steps up or makes a great decision. Incredible passes that he had. He had a fantastic 1 yard throw. And I know it sounds weird, but the defenders are crashing in on him. He sidearms it for 1 yard. But if there was an additional blocker there, or if that block would have been picked up, that would have probably been at least a first down there. Overall, guys, thoughts on DJ Lagway's performance? Nick?
I think right now, I think we're getting the young, raw, unpolished version of DJ. Because against LSU, I got a text from somebody who covered him in high school out in Texas, and he goes, DJ in 2 drives has thrown 3 balls that could have gone the other way for 6 and has thrown 5 balls that only Dan Marino can make. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of the 19-year-old DJ Lagway experience. And,
right.
I think if we look at him right now, you look at the game, and at one point the passing wasn't great. He ends up finishing 10 of 17 for 182 touchdowns in the interception. On the year, what is he around, like 55%, Dan? I'm pulling it up right now.
I got you. He is
58.5%. Yeah. So I think you're getting, he's still young. It's still learning and adjusting. We're probably past the point where we consider him a freshman just because of how much he's played. But I think
I still think you need to look at him as a freshman, but I also think that we also need to start looking at him as a starting quarterback, right? And obviously you're a freshman. And I also think, and I'm not coming with any hate here, so please just take this from a place of just an opinion of, I think it's okay to say that DJ Lagway made a mistake in a game. I think it's okay to say that there was an errant throw, right? Like, not everything has to be Lord and Savior DJ Lagway. I think it's okay to be critical and know that I think things are going to get better, but it is funny to watch some people attack other people when a ball is clearly overthrown. It's like, well, he hit him in his hands. He should definitely have caught that. It's like, well, like, let's be objective.
That ball needs that ball. Yeah, that you got to put that ball on him. Slants across the middle. Yeah, you just got to put that on him a little bit. You want, because it's a hot ball too. So while it does hit 2 hands, you're trying to catch it. Just real football players know that's a tough catch. You just want us to better be more objective. Ball.
Yeah.
Well, with me and my new job, Dan is now just assuming the negative role on the show. Game recognized game.
See what I mean?
Game, Daniel.
See, like, you can't be critical, right? Like, there's somebody going to say it's always somebody else's fault. Like,
I think right now we are seeing the worst football that DJ Lagway will play in his time in Gainesville.
I hope so.
And not that it's bad. I think he's playing exceptionally, especially for a 19-year-old who got to Florida and wasn't expecting to play or be the starter. Was expecting to get some time and have packages, roles, but not be the starter because of having Graham Mertz. Here's
the thing, though. My bad, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Real quick, I think, like we've said before, DJ Lagway can save Billy Napier's job. I think DJ Lagway can be a quarterback who gets a statue next to Tim Tebow, Danny Warfel, and Steve Spurrier outside the stadium. Like, that's the kind of potential I think he has. And I don't know that I've said that about any quarterback since I've started covering at Kyle Trask. My guy was Team Trask from the beginning. But no, I haven't said that about any other quarterback, but I truly think that that's the kind of potential DJ has.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I think
even
Chris
with
Smith,
his.
oh, go ahead, Corey.
What? Are you good? You good?
No, I was just going to say, Chris Smith, I think you misinterpreted what Nick said. I don't think he's saying that DJ Lagway is playing bad football. I think what he's saying is that DJ Lagway will get better over the next 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Not
I'm saying what
football a quarterback could play. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying what we're seeing right now is the worst that we will see of DJ Lagway. He's playing well. I'm saying he's only going to get better from what we're seeing.
Right.
Like this, he's having a really good year. And I mean, he has 1,400, almost 1,500 yards, 10.9 per attempt, 9 touchdowns. We're not even really seeing him because of the injury run and exploit defenses with his legs. So like, yeah, I'm not saying he's playing bad. I'm just saying this is the floor. We're watching the floor of DJ Lagway's potential.
Yeah. Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, I think somebody in the comments was saying like if the Mercs had went 10-18, like I'm just gonna be 100% frank with you guys, bro. Like being efficient in this offense means absolutely squat. This offense, I think the play callers, the style of offense, what they call, I think is very bland. I think you need explosive plays. I've been saying this before Lagway even took the helm. Like you're gonna need explosive plays to get you to the end zone. These guys aren't gonna call methodically good game to like just move the sticks. They're gonna make mistakes. And what Lagway has brought to this team is the explosive plays to get us to the end zone in less amount of plays. And that's what you need out of this offense. And it's just a playmaker at that position. AR brought similar things, be it either his legs or the run game legs. But I think we was more explosive in getting to the end zone faster. Mertz was efficient, right? His numbers was like crazy accurate, but it took longer to get to the end zone. And we weren't winning football games by being efficient. This offense needs to be explosive, not efficient.
I want to interrupt you real quick to say that DJ Lagway has just 7 more completions than Graham Mertz has on the season and has nearly 700 yards more passing.
You just got to get explosive. It's just like, so you got to live with the mistakes. Like Florida State lived with it with Jameis, right? Jameis was a turnover machine, but it didn't matter. They went and won natties because of the explosive plays, the anticipation, the it factor. You know, just that gene that you just can't coach into quarterbacks is what DJ Lagway has. Yeah, he's gonna make mistakes. He's gonna turn the ball over. He's gonna make bad throws. And I'm be the first one. Yo, that's a bad throw. When he threw it, and then I seen people saying the receiver got to catch that. And I said, nah, he's got to have better ball placement. Like you could be critical, supportive, all of that, reasonable, all that in one shot. You don't have to just like ride a guy and drink the Kool-Aid, pause and glaze him. Like, nah, he can get better. He's gonna get better, but this offense is just more explosive. DJ Lagway hasn't lost a game yet that he's played a full game in.
Right.
Point blank, period. You know?
Yep. All right. Let's get into the running backs in this game again. I believe it's the most yards Ole Miss is allowed on the ground this season. Jaden Ball carries the ball for 13 times for 46 yards. Montreal Johnson carries for 18 times for 107 yards and a touchdown. DJ Lagway has 3 attempts for 11 yards, and then Jacoby Jackson has 8 rushes for 21 yards in this game. Obviously, I think that you saw Jaden Ball didn't run him in the third period or the third quarter. Started running in the fourth quarter, offense started moving a little bit more. Obviously, we take out really the third quarter because nothing much happened there. I thought that Montreal ran the ball well. I thought Jane ran the ball well. But I do think that there's a different enthusiasm and energy when Ball does run the ball. But I do want to – I'm sorry?
This is a good spot for Jordan's take on the ball.
Yeah,
and
no, absolutely.
Johnson.
But 185 yards on the ground. Go ahead.
They both are pretty good running backs, man. I think both of them run the ball really tough and like always finish like falling forward for the most part. That's what you look to see in like a running back, especially in the SEC. You want to see if they're going to fall forward and fight for those extra yards, you know, because not everything's going to be just a home run hit in the SEC. So I feel like both of those guys are good. I feel like, honestly, I would like for Ball to get the ball more, just a few more touches, just, you know, maybe keep Montreal a little more hungry, not to let him think that this is all his and he can just be okay with getting 2 yards a pop. I feel like once he saw ball getting in there a little bit, it kind of put a little fire up under his butt to, run the ball a little harder and be more efficient with the carries he was getting. And so I think that'll be I think honestly, during the game, I was team ball, like get in the ball right now. I wanted it, but overall, I think Florida can mix in a little 1-2 punch and have those guys like rolling throughout the year. Like just keep the legs fresh. Whoever fresh goes in and does it, whatever. I'm not into the whole, oh, you get this series, we get this series, and this.
Right, right.
Yeah,
You lived through that a little bit.
yeah, I lived through that a lot of it. Like it was not that fun. Yeah, it was not that fun, and like you kind of lose your groove. So like, if I'm tired, let me get 2, 3 plays, take me out, and then he a little tired, I come back and get him. Like, let's just roll it like that. Let's not just roll it on some drive things to where you basically cold if the defense on the field for a long time or the offense on the field for a long time. But overall, I think both of those dudes are really good running backs. Man, we got a great backfield overall. But
Question for you, Jordan. I felt like you said it before, and I love it. The slow to fast through. It felt like though that ball was a little like too slow, like trying to bounce things out a little bit too much. A little too much east and west, and getting some loss of yards there.
Yeah, I think he was definitely getting into that because he kind of was maybe feeling himself a little bit too much, and
He was
thinking
trying
he
to
can do
set
things
something
that
up.
he can't. Yeah, he's trying to pop the home run hit. Like, and I get it, I'm all about it, but at the same time, he got to realize, and obviously he's a young cat, man. It's your first year in the SEC, like. You're gonna go through growing pains of that, but eventually he's gonna build a knack to know, like, okay, this is not a team that I can really try to hit the home run on. This is the one I gotta just hit the hole and take the 4, take the 3. Like, we're good with 4 yards a pop. Like, if you get in that, like going in the half, I think he was obviously he didn't get as much carries. He was averaging like 6 yards a carry, and Montreal's averaging like 5. I'm like, this is great. Like, if we can stay at this number for the entire game, and this is supposed to be the best run defense in the SEC almost. We
Right,
looking
right.
good right here. Like I can live with those numbers. So I feel like Montreal kind of understands that as he's more of a veteran guy in the college league. Like he knows, like I'm not trying to look for the home run. I just want to fall forward and fall for my 3 or 4 yards. And it doesn't look good when you're watching it because everybody like, man, he ain't,
Right.
like I want to see a big play. And like obviously, Ball has hit so many big runs. That's all he's looking for when he gets in the game. Now he wants to just hit that home run. So he definitely lost some yardage with trying to find that home run hit. And like I think with time, he's gonna realize the teams he can do that on versus like, okay, this is a good defensive line. Like I just got to take what they give me.
Sometimes within the scheme of the offense, the 3-yard run is the home run for that play.
Yeah,
instead
literally.
of trying to wiggle
Especially
around
this
and losing
offense, yeah.
4.
100%.
Damn it, Dan.
That's okay. I mean, to get 185 yards rushing against Ole Miss is fantastic.
No, 100%.
Yeah, they just had some great timing. Like I do want to give like just flowers to the staff
Thank
on
you.
like we give Nape a hard time because that third quarter was atrocious. It was ugly.
Yeah, it was tough
Third
to
quarter
watch,
was a lot to deal. It was hard to deal with that third quarter. And it looked like we started getting it going when Ball did get back in. He started taking it 3 or 4. We got some momentum going, and then Montreal came in and started getting hot in the fourth quarter. But that screen pass to Ball was right on time. It had some good timing, screen plays, and a couple that was like an inch away from breaking some big ones. But overall, I think the game plan was on point. They had some good strategy going in, and they was able to hit on some things they seen in Ole Miss defense. But that third quarter, we got to clean that up, bro. I thought we could have ran away with it. It got a little scary because Ole Miss was consistent in that third quarter. They kept moving the ball. They just kept stalling. Our defense just kept coming through on them fourth downs.
Well,
but they kept moving the ball into the red zone. Yeah, and that muff punt saved us as well. But we got to clean up some things. You can't over criticize, for the most part. But that third quarter was ugly.
I do want to go back just a few minutes into game time there. I want to ask you guys about what you thought about what happened at the end of the first half. Right, so the game's tied. You call a timeout, minute and 20 some odd seconds left. What in the world were they trying to do on offense, right? Because they were calling random timeouts. Like, if you want to take it to the half because you're tied, like, go do that. But all you're doing is you're calling random timeouts. You're running out of bounds, and you're still not really going anywhere. It was a very odd way to try to end the second half. Like, you could have ended the half 10 minutes
Easily.
before.
Yeah, you running the ball every single down and then calling timeouts. Like you sending mixed signals. I was very lost when I saw that. I was so lost, bro. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, we get
So
out of bounds.
I'm looking it up because unless you were there, you couldn't see it. So they got the ball back with 112, 3-yard run, then a 1-yard run. So now it's 3rd and 6. They call timeout. There's 21 seconds left. They had a play call, and I think they were going to try to take a deep shot on 3rd down, which then you're punting with like some time left. So like I'm not
that's what I said.
making up for anything, but Napier saw something, and he was going nuts on the sideline, like trying to get DJ's attention. DJ and I think it was Montrell in. They kind of looked at the sideline. He definitely killed whatever play, and they checked to a 3rd run to eventually take it in. But I would like to take that shot on 1st down. And hey, if we don't take the shot, now let's run.
Let's run it out.
But
it was just a question of time management overall. Like Harrison's talking about it in the comments, the 4th quarter, like we was snapping the ball while up. We should be trying to drain the clock. We was snapping that joint with like 15, 20, 10 seconds on the clock. And I'm just like,
I need at least 5 on that bit.
Bro, like
so I did hear an alternative.
We've asked Napier about this before, and he's kind of like, hey, we'll call a run or we'll call a play. If we can get a chunk on 1st down, then we'll go into a hurry up and we'll try it. But if we call something and it's not successful, but then again, you're calling timeouts and you're dealing with.
I think you're talking. I think you're talking about a different situation, Nick. I think what Corey's talking about is that you have the ball with a couple minutes left at the end of the 4th quarter, and you're snapping the ball with, 15, 20
first half.
Oh no, we were talking about the end of the game in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's talk about that. The alternative perspective that I heard from somebody was that it's to potentially keep the defense on guard, to maybe you can catch them sleeping if you think that the ball is going to get snapped with 4 or 5 seconds left. And if you snap it with 10, 12 seconds left, maybe you'll be able to break something. I disagree. I just thought it was an interesting perspective from somebody that I trust, but
I can see that. I mean, that's very reasonable if you really think about it, because some dudes will, like, they're not, obviously not looking at the play clock like defensive linemen. They're more watching the ball at that rate, but I feel like they may try to like just be relaxed because they think that they're in the milking the clock. So I feel like it'll almost work better if you got straight to the line and like it was like an immediate snap, not necessarily like you waited 7 seconds and then you're snapping the ball with 10 seconds left. Like at that rate, they felt like the clock was milked. They're not looking at each second, but I can understand where it comes from. I would have definitely more agreed if they kind of just did some hurry up thing. Like they broke the huddle fast and like they didn't get time to see the formation and it was like a quick snap. Like I was like, okay, that was genius of you guys. But overall, I wasn't really too impressed with the clock management, halftime or end game. I feel like that's some things that they can clean up on as a staff.
100%. Yeah, that going to halftime, and that's when as Gator fans, we all get our radar up because it's been bad since the staff has got here heading into halftime. But you got, in my opinion, you just can't play safe. I think we playing with house money a little bit. I thought he could be a little bit more aggressive, especially with the kind of quarterback we got. Put some pressure. I know they had the high safety and all that, but there's got to be some intermediate throws that we can go through. It's got to be a game plan on. It's a one possession game. We get the ball at halftime. So I'm thinking there's an opportunity to create some space, to get some comfort in the score, get the stadium behind you. And then even when we run the ball, we get stopped. You see Lane Kiffin, an aggressive play caller, a guy that just gambles all the time. Like he's going to go for it on 4th. He's calling timeouts with 30 seconds on the clock, hoping to get it back to go try to get points. And I think like over time, like Billy got to know, that's what the SEC is. Like, there is no such thing as a big lead at all. And 7 points, definitely not no lead. So you just got to always have your foot on the gas with trying to get points. But I could see like them saying, like, just want to make sure you don't have a turnover and then you give Ole Miss an opportunity. But there are some safe throws and there's also some safe calls that you can make even with being aggressive. You could be aggressive and safe at the same time on some like 50-50 throws, whatever it may be. But we just got to stay aggressive.
Yeah. All right, let's give the flowers to the offensive line as well. Did well in this game, run blocking. Bryce Lovett led your team in pass blocking. In run blocking, your best was Damian George. He had a couple of multi-level blocks there, so I want to give him credit where credit is due there. But I thought overall, especially against a defensive line at Ole Miss that has multiple great playmakers between Princely, Walter Nolan, and Ivy, multiple playmakers. It's tough to put all of your energies just on one player, like you can do with some defensive lines, but do want to give the offensive line credit. Then I want to get to defense before I welcome Eric Fawcett onto the show in a bit to talk Gators basketball. Any thoughts on the offensive line or on the offense before we move to defense?
Yeah, they like Corey said, they struggled a little bit, but 2 weeks in a row, I've seen a safety, cornerback, linebacker's worst nightmare where there's just a pulling guard with nothing but space in front of you. And as a safety or as a linebacker, you're thinking, oh my God, where was my linebacker to chip him, to get him off of his, you got Najee Harris or Damian George at 320.
Speed bump, bro.
With a head full of steam running at you. Buddy, I'm making a business decision. Drop down, roll into their ankles, trip them up. That's a win for me on film.
I wonder if they sorry to cut you off, but I wonder if they changed the rule for college too. I know in the NFL you're no longer allowed to chop block a pulling lineman coming towards you in the open field. They took that rule out of the NFL, so that's why you see people getting steamrolled.
Not in Pop Warner.
I'm getting the flag, Jordan. I'm getting the flag.
Right? Yeah,
that's fine.
I'm with you. If I see a big 300-pound dude coming, you're gonna take them legs out, buddy. Sorry.
My son got pancaked twice with that. I was like, hey, bro, I called him to the sideline. I was like, listen, let me teach you something real quick, bro.
What?
Chop them down.
This is what we call a hip tackle, son.
100%, bro. Like, chop that down, shin and down, my boy. I don't care how big they are. Everybody's shins are small.
That's a DB tackle. The DBs are diving for shins.
That's right.
Especially if it's a pulling guard. Are you kidding me?
See, who was it? Was it Kansas against Shador?
That's Corey doing the Vince Wilfork. No.
Yeah, man, I can't lie.
You guys saw that? I'm like, geez, man. All right, let's get into the defensive side of the ball. Before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Home Field Apparel. Go visit them, homefieldapparel.com. Promo code Stadium and Gale if you are looking for anything for the holiday season. If you're looking for that hat Nick is showing off, if you're watching on YouTube or on Twitter, or I guess
I need
X.
that.
Go visit homefieldapparel.com. Nick, we'll see you later, buddy. Go visit homefieldapparel.com. Use promo code Stadium and Gale. Oh, you can also get
all the drip.
Pullover.
Can I get some drip?
I don't even
know how to wear that. He don't even know how to wear that, bro. Yeah,
I know.
You guys have one baseball game every 3 years. I've covered 1,000 baseball games.
Yeah, but you weren't even allowed to wear it. You weren't even allowed to be a fan until a couple weeks ago.
Now I can, buddy.
That's nuts. So shout out to Home Field Apparel, man. Homefieldapparel.com. Promo code Stadium and Gale.
All white New Balances, man. He don't know what to wear.
I would never. I could have 30 kids. You'll never catch me in those white New Balances. Not a
second. Conversation in 5 years, Corey, when he talks about, well, they're a practical shoe.
Never again.
from a pricing perspective,
my
Corey,
back
really
hurts. The Velcro is just really efficient.
Yeah, the
Velcro,
the Velcro, the arch support really helps. So
it's all about the soles.
Yeah.
Go catch me in some Louboutins before I'm in some New Balances.
You are not going to wear Louboutins either. Shout out to Home Field Apparel. Promo code Stadium and Gale. Gators on defense again. Very solid performance again. A lot changed from the
Red Bottom Nick.
We're not going to call you that. We're not going to call you that. I can assure you. You know. You would be a bottom, though. All right, so let's get into the Gators. Let's get into the Gators defense. Your top-ranked players are Miles Graham, Jack Piper, Traquez Bridges, Tyreek Stapp, and Cam James. Guys, come on, let's get back on track. I know what you're laughing at. Let's see. I thought this was a great game for Cam James, Miles Graham, Jack Piper, and obviously as well. And then we do want to give a massive shout out. He didn't score super highly, which is kind of funny, but I think Caleb Banks had one of the best games that you're going to see out of defensive tackle. Ends up with 2 sacks, 1 quarterback hit, 3 hurries. Cam Jackson ended up with 4 hurries. TJ Searcy, 3 hurries. I mean, they were getting after the quarterback, but to walk away with 4 sacks, 3 QB hits, and 18 hurries in this game, just shout out to the defense.
real quick
Nick?
spotlight. Real quick spotlight. Triquez and Corey, I asked him about his name. Triquez, how you say it.
Okay.
He came to Florida specifically to play safety. He had played cornerback. He thought his best chance at the NFL would be to be a safety. He came here to get safety film. That's where they were working him out as. Because of the injuries, hey, man, we got to slide you down to the cornerback. You don't pout about it. You figure it out. And I think he's played his ass off the last 2 weeks, is now showing you, hey, here's some safety film from this year. Here's also some really good corner film. And I can play in the nickel if you need me to. So I think what he's done by being unselfish and playing well these last 2 weeks with 2 more games to go is put even more film and show NFL teams, hey, I can take up a couple roster spots for you. So shout out to him because you literally came here for your last year. You were told you can do something, and then injuries happen, and you don't pout about it or whine or throw a fit. You just go and handle business. So shout out to Triquez Bridges for the play of the last 2 weeks, playing out of position for him.
Shout out to Will Harris for our secondary tackling has been atrocious for a long time, bro. Like 3, 4, 5 years now. And Will Harris came to town, and this secondary, like they're a big part of the reason we've been winning the last few weeks, man. Just sliding down, running the alley, getting guys on the ground. Bridges gave up a couple plays here and there. It's gonna happen. Like it's part of being a DB. You're not gonna win 100% of the time. You're gonna lose some. But overall, he's been one of the most valuable transfer portal guys that we brought in.
Mm-hmm.
So just shout out to Will Harris. I do want to give the players some flowers, but Will Harris is doing a heck of a job, like coaching these guys on the back end.
Yeah, I remember
your best guy in coverage in this game.
I remember Will Harris talking to him during early signing day. He had just gotten here, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to watch film. I'm going back to California to grab my stuff. Come back. I'm going to watch film." And then it was like DB offer, DB offer, DB offer, DB offer, and you look at him like, "Oh, these guys can tackle." He probably watched on film and going, "What is this? What is this 7-on-7? What are we doing out here?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we
Gator-
definitely give. Go ahead. Get your thing. Go off, Dan.
No, go ahead. No. I'm just going over stats. I'm doing the boring stuff here, you know.
No, that's what the streets hit for.
Triquez, does not have eligibility left. I asked a ton of questions about Elijah Badger. He doesn't have eligibility left. DJ Douglas doesn't have any. I mean, Asa Turner played 3 quarters. He can get a medical for this year. He could come back. I don't know if that's what he wants to do as a 23-year-old, to come back to be 25 as a rookie in the NFL draft.
What he got on the agenda?
What he got? What
he got? I would come back if I was him.
But I think what Corey's asking is, what else is he going to do with his life?
That's tough. That's rude,
you know.
No, it's NIL money. NIL's changed things. So right, if I'm Turner, right, I'm looking at. I've been injured this entire year, right, and I have no film because NFL loves what you could do lately, right. So he has no free like recent film. If I could come
because he was
back,
out part of last season too.
Yeah, I come back, I get a check and get film. Like there's no reason for me to rush the NFL.
NIL.
I don't know that he. I don't even know that he can. So 19 he played, 20 doesn't count. 21 he played, 22 he played, 23 he played, but he took a red shirt last year, so he doesn't even. I would have to see if he took a red shirt, or if he took a medical red shirt last year.
You need to stay your behind in college. What you doing?
Yeah,
he might have to get into the workforce though. If we got how many years does Slackman have? Just curious.
I think he's out.
Slackman got to go too. Slackman owes us some money back. I think we should file like a lawsuit with Slackman.
I did see Slackman play a few snaps in this game, actually.
Slackman 1, 2, 3.
I mean, but I saw him like doing like something in this game.
Yeah, Slackman owes us some money back.
Yeah,
he got a
Slackman's a grad student, and this is his 4th year of playing.
What?
That was a big.
Yeah, but he's got a Penn degree, a Florida degree. I like his chances to hopefully do something.
Oh, he's gonna be successful in life, but.
Yeah, man, we did lie about Slackman, but we didn't lie about other people. So, everybody lied about Slackman, That's fine. That's fine. let's see. Let's get back into the defense. What did I want to look up here? Missed tackles. You guys talked a little bit about that. 14 in the game, but ultimately, much better on the defense side of the ball. Again, bend don't break on the defensive side of the ball. Let up a lot of yards, as you can imagine, to a offensive team that's going to score a lot of, or going to have a lot of points in games this season. So let up 464. They let up almost a little bit more than 6 yards per play in the game there. But I believe in this game it was their second lowest scoring game of the season, maybe third lowest scoring game. Second, tied for the lowest, tied for the lowest points that they've had all season, coming off a 63-point game against Arkansas, 28-point victory against Georgia. To only end up with 17 points is just a masterclass by the defense, by Ron Roberts, by Gerald Chapman. I know you gave Will Harris a lot of credit. I want to give Gerald Chapman a lot of credit too for what we've seen out of the growth of that defensive unit that is missing some folks. The emergence of Caleb Banks, who I am now reading might be the number 1 rated defensive tackle in this NFL draft, or definitely top 3. There are some people putting him as a first round potential draft pick. So shout out to Caleb Banks, because I know on this show we did not have Caleb Banks as a potential first round draft pick.
Nick talked greasy about Banks. we got
that is actually been one of my guys. I just thought he was a project, because he was a guy who didn't really play at Louisville. I've actually gotten to talk to him a couple times over the past couple of weeks, and it would be interesting, because if you're a first 2-day pick, if you're going rounds 1 through 3, there's no decision. The decision's made for you. If you're fringe 3-4, third day, like now you're getting NIL, and guess what? There is no practice squad. You're on scholarship. You're not getting worried. You might get as much in NIL as you get in guaranteed money as a 4th rounder with job security. And a 4th rounder doesn't necessarily have job security.
Yeah, it really does.
And you can come back like Ricky Pearsall. If he would have left after 1 year at Florida, he's probably 4th round guy.
Yeah.
Maybe instead 32nd pick.
I'm trying to tell you that would have never happened if he came out that first year.
No, he wouldn't have been a first 2-day pick. I don't think. Maybe sneak into the 3rd round, maybe. But he came back, balled out, and made himself a first rounder. He made a beautiful business. And listen, he was paid well for the year he came back.
That's what I said, it's really a win-win with NIL now. I don't know why people rushing to just get up out of here. That league ain't so secure as you think it is. You want to go be with the big dogs. Yeah, going to either be on practice squad making $5,000 a week. Or, what?
Yeah, it get dicey quick. Yeah.
You feel me? Let's be real here.
Yeah. I think I don't know what's the process of how this staff is getting film and how they evaluating, but they're doing a great job with getting guys that are rated high as porter guys, right? And I'm gonna always be fair. I'm gonna give flowers what they deserve. I don't have an agenda. A lot of these people have agendas and they want to be either pro staff. I just call it as it is, as plain as I see it. I think these guys do a great job of however they obtain the film. I think they did it with what's his name? Gums? Grubbs?
Yeah,
what's his name?
Gums.
George Gums.
Not a lot of film out there.
Receiver in high school, a tight end at Cincy, had played 1 year of defense.
I thought he played at Northern Illinois.
Yeah, he played some.
It's not the same. Completely different state, as a matter of fact. Sorry, go ahead, Corey.
Roughly the same area.
He played some defensive line at NIU. Same thing with Caleb Banks, but he got some playing time. They got a process of seeing practice film or whatever it may be, and they evaluating very well. Now, I want to give those guys flowers for how they evaluate and getting guys through the portal. And I would not get caught up in the recruiting rankings and portal rankings of that, because they had a process and it's successful so far. So damn sure want to get them props for that. But another thing too from the game, Lane quit running the ball. He folded. And in the SEC, when I see he started trying to do bubble screens and other things to supplement for not running the ball. But when I seen him give up on the run game, I say, we got him.
Yeah, that's
We
really what
got
did
him.
it.
He
Yeah,
quit.
I mean, they
quit.
still ran for 141, but fat on
All
fat.
quarterback. All
our fat
quarterback.
guys.
Yeah. Sneaky fast, Jackson Dart.
Yeah, you're right.
Sneaky fast.
Yeah, and like
Yeah,
thank God them
Jackson
boys
Dart.
is dropping balls out there too. That's really
Yeah,
what
but
it comes down to.
Yeah, but I do want to give the Florida Gators defense for stopping their fat defensive tackle.
Yeah,
I think he had been 12 for 12 on getting first down. He went, I think, 1 or 2, and he got smoked. He got blown up multiple times. And there was
Miles
one
Graham,
play.
baby.
So as you guys know, I was never on the whatever. I forgot who it was. I think it was Nathaniel Rogers, who likes to come in here. He's real quiet when they're losing, but when the Gators are winning, he's back in here telling us that we're all wrong about everything. But he came in and said, "Dan, you're like off the lane train." Just like, Dan was never on the lane train. But that's. It was interesting to watch him kind of fold. Like that was a play that they kept going back to and it kept not working. I'm like, I would try something different, but they didn't seem to want to try something different. Ran him 7 times, I think, in this game.
Yeah, listen, man.
Made him think.
Billy, I think Billy, and this may or may not be sourced. You can take it however you want. Billy wanted this game.
Man, it's sourced.
Billy wanted this game, and the person I was talking to may or may not allegedly have said, I was like, oh, because we were all writing about it, and all the fans were talking about Lane. He's like, no, it's not even that. He had to babysit Lane for 4 years in Tuscaloosa. And I was like, oh, that was Joey Freshwater Lane, too. That was before Lane found God in Mississippi and stopped drinking and started going to church. Like Billy had to babysit. Billy had to babysit Joey Freshwater. I was like, I get it.
That makes sense, though.
No, I mean, I think that Billy Napier is being coy with you guys if you think that that's the reason that he wanted to beat him. And we'll talk a little bit about I want to talk a little bit about Billy Napier's post-game conversation that he had, his press interview, his conversation today as well. I mean, he heard the noise, and I think that he did I think that he had a great answer saying, hey, we heard it. I think a lot of people wanted Lane. I think a lot of people talked about Lane. I think that there was a lot of conversation about making a change at coach. And, I think he took a very humble approach, but I also think he wanted to beat Lane Kiffin in this game. And that meant a lot to him. And I mean, when you think about big wins that Florida has had during his tenure, I don't know. I want to ask you guys before we bring Eric Fawcett on, do you guys think that this is the biggest win he's had at Florida? Not just because it was against number 9, but do you think this is the biggest win that he's had at the University of Florida?
100%.
Utah week 1, Tennessee last year. I think Tennessee was top 10 or top 15 last year. LSU, and then this. Those are the top 4. I'm not going to get mad at you in any way you order those 4, but those are the top 4.
Well, that was easy, Nick, because those are like the 4 games that kind of matter. Like, I want you to put yourself out there and say, this was number 1 or this is number 2. But to carry over win, to beat the team the way you did, shout out to the crowd. They seemed into the game all game. But to do it the way you did it, I think this is probably his biggest win.
Yeah, no, I think it's his biggest win by far. I think going into the Utah game, you hope you win that game, and it's still the beginning of his tenure, right? You don't know what you're really getting, but after everything he's been through, being on the hottest seat in America, like the fans is asking for the guy you're about to play. Like Lane Kiffin is coming in, a guy that a lot of fans want to replace you with, and also a player, one of your best defensive players on paper, Uma Nealon, going to that team in a way that he kind of went out in a trolling fashion. That win, I think, was the biggest win in this tenure by far. I don't think it is even close.
Yeah.
And the way they did it too, I thought was like Lane melting down on the sidelines. Him going out like just looking goofy. You know what I'm saying? Like Billy was cool and calm, collected the entire game, just vibed out, never lost his cool. Looked like he was more in control of the whole situation. like from sideline to sideline, you look at both sidelines, Billy looked like the more composed guy. He looked like the more seasoned guy in that game. You know, just straight up. Is Lane Kiffin probably more respected as a coach? Yeah. But what we saw Saturday, it looked like Lane Kiffin was not the better coach. He got out coached by Billy Napier, hands down.
Yeah,
top
sure.
to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, he looked befuddled on the sideline. Why,
sure.
Jordan? What are your thoughts? Biggest win under Billy Napier?
I think it's definitely the biggest win, just because all that came with it, man. It was talks about everybody was on the Lane train, potentially coming to Florida, and obviously they were ranked number 9, and this was like their playoff hope win type deal. So to come in and basically knock a team out the playoffs early without even having the thought of beating them because everybody thought you was about to get fired, that's definitely like the biggest win so far.
Yeah, and I think the way that
I've been saying for like a month that I thought Billy Napier had a better football team than Ole Miss. I didn't care what the rankings said. I'm gonna tell you what Ole Miss had the advantage of. Ole Miss had the advantage of playing scrubs in the beginning.
That's very true.
Absolute preseason scrubs. We started with Miami. We started in the fire, in the heat. You went with Miami. You got a week off. Then you went Texas A&M, a team that's about to play for SEC championship. So we was in the heat of the fire, like right out the gate. And Ole Miss got a chance to build up, you know, and take
practice
some L's,
and get all that stuff going.
Right.
It's good when you can really practice game reps. It sounds silly and funny, but like when you can actually like get some good reps in the game and like be able to get comfortable and like call stuff you want to call and etc. because you know you got the game under control. That's a good way to like get your guys comfortable. Versus Florida, we was kind of like always in the hot seat. We was always down. We never could really like get our mojo going because we was trying to fight the crawl to stay in the game the entire time. So it's definitely played out in their favor.
Yeah, no. Shout out to
Corey was on the Lane train
for a week.
First class
ticket for 1 week.
Leg room.
1 week.
Couple videos, Corey. I cut him up. It's okay, you know.
Extra leg room.
I'm fair. Like I would say, like I'm not gonna say Lane train. What happened was
in his seat.
What happened was we came on and we started our coaching board. So for 1 week, he was on my coaching board, right? That following week, I came back and said, "No, Lane, take Lane off. He hasn't been back on it ever since, right?" And I've been just super critical of Lane and what he's been doing from week to week. And I've been saying from then, like, I don't think they're that good. I didn't think they would make the playoffs. Me and Nick talked about that on this show. I said, I don't think Lane Kiffin's gonna make the playoffs. I think that Billy Napier could beat them. I tweeted that, you know, throughout the season but I don't think Ole Miss is a better football team than us. How are we gonna hire a guy that may not be better than Billy Napier?
I remember telling you, like, hey, Lane, talking about the timeline, and hey, Lane might have a playoff team. If he's in the playoff, you're not going to get him to leave. And you being like, well, then I need him to lose. And I was like, well, now you want Lane to lose with the best team he's ever had, and then that's your guy? And you were like, yes. And I think the receipts might be longer than a CVS receipt for just a chapstick.
No,
for just a chapstick.
I said I don't need him to lose. I didn't think he would make the playoffs. I didn't think he was good enough to make the playoffs. You hype Jackson Dart. You hype.
I do like Jackson Dart.
Yeah, Aiden Warner.
He has a big arm.
Heading into Georgia game, you thought that I've been saying every week. I thought we could beat every quarterback and every team we face. And this team is super talented, man. Like the talent is not the issue. The issue have always been the coaching. Like I've been saying that since week 1. I don't think the schedule's that tough.
I just think if we play Miami again,
we smack them.
Yeah,
we should have been more prepared for that game. We came into that game unprepared. We came to that game with not the right strategy and not the right game plan. But when we look at this team from top to bottom, NFL guys, bro, like this team is absolutely loaded. The only thing that has been holding us back is how we approach the game, preparation, personnel, depth chart, like all of that stuff. I said in the offseason that Ladway should have had a package heading into Miami game.
Pause.
Yeah.
Pause.
Come on,
but
Nick.
Also pause. He's a bottom. He's a bottom.
No,
like,
for real though, he definitely should have had his own little thing going into the game.
He should have had a package, as we all see now that he should have had a package heading to the Miami game, right? And the only thing that has been holding us back, like boom, We can talk about that too. Boone got the number 1. He's playing defensive end. Boone shouldn't have been in the top of that depth chart, as we see now. There has been a lot of egregious personnel decisions that got us at these 6 wins. This is a 9-10 win team, top to bottom. Talent is there. They've evaluated, they've recruited well, they put the roster together well. The only thing that has held them back is the coaching staff, putting these guys in the right position to win football games. DJ Ladway should have been a part of the game plan from day one. Boss shouldn't have been running back 4 at no point in time.
I know he had to be doing that in training camp. I don't know what's going on.
We heard about it.
Yeah,
we saw it in the spring game.
I wasn't following training camp, but there's no way, the way he's running now, that he was not doing that on our defense. Not saying our defense is bad. I'm just saying he's a pretty good back. There's no way that they missed that.
I told you in spring, I said, hey, there's this freshman who is out there in like black Air Force Ones with no gloves, no armbands. I'm like, this kid is coming. This kid is coming for heads. We got Eric waiting, but I will say, listen, the Miami game happened, but at least one game next year they will sell out Hard Rock Stadium. Florida will get to see Miami next year.
I'm jumping on their furniture down there. I'm telling you right now, we beat them folks that way. I'm climbing on all their stuff, bro.
We got to do a stadium and Gale thing down there.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Either there or
that'll be a good one.
No, we popping up down there. The game's down there. We doing a pop-up, a hotel gate. We vibing in Miami 100%.
We'll go.
I can't wait.
We're gonna go space. We're gonna go space afterwards. We're gonna make it a whole 36-hour event. You know what I mean?
Hey, all right, podcast guys. From space, no evidence.
No, nobody's gonna listen to a 4 a.m. podcast anyway, Nick. Well, knowing some of you guys in this chat, you guys will probably be there. All right, let's get Eric Fawcett on the show. Before we do that, we got to pay our bills so we can pay Eric to be here. Shout out to our friends over at Game Time Sidekicks. Just kidding, Eric's doing this for free. Shout out to Game Time Sidekicks. Nick's got one, Corey's got one. Mine's up in Tampa. But go visit GameTimeSidekicks.com. Use promo code Stadium15. You are going to get a great cup that is going to keep your hot drinks hot, cold drinks cold. And they have a bunch for the University of Florida. They also have a bunch for a number of other schools as well. So go check them out. It is run by a Gator fan living in Knoxville, Tennessee. So go support him. Again, GameTimeSidekicks.com, promo code Stadium15. And with that, we welcome from the UF Basketball Hour one of my favorite people to talk about college basketball with, simply because he knows and he dissects things that I've never even heard or noticed on a basketball court. Eric Fawcett, my favorite Edmonton resident. What are you guys, Edmontonians? Or
Edmontonians, and you know what? I think I believe you, because I don't know if you could name your second favorite. So I'll take that.
Leon Draisaitl.
Wow. Yeah, current resident. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah. So wow.
Look at Dan.
Shout out to me. Who else do I know? Darnell Nurse is
over
up
there in South Florida.
You know,
wow.
Darnell Nurse is up there. My dad used to work for a company out of Winnipeg, so I'm a little familiar with the provinces up there in Canada. But anyway, Eric, let's talk a little bit about the Gators basketball team. Start the season 6-0, win against FSU last about a week and a half ago. Win over there. But let's talk. How's the UF basketball team looking? On par with what you expected? Some of the transfers, just kind of give us a high level overview of the basketball team so far.
Yeah, I mean, high level overview is this is a team that had a really good chest of NIL and went and got really good players, was able to retain some really good players, and the coaching staff really hit on some of their under the radar recruits. So it's a team that is loaded with talent up and down. But last year's team was talented too, and they just made the NCAA tournament and couldn't win an NCAA tournament game. And I think a lot of the reason why was they were playing a style that was not really the personality of the head coach, Todd Golden. They were a team that was scoring the ball, but could not guard anyone on the other end. And that was not at all the DNA of Golden, not at all how he played at San Francisco. And when you look at the players that they got in the portal this year, they have completely taken on the way that Golden wants his teams to play, the way that his personality is, and that is defending. Like, yes, they're definitely putting up points. You're seeing that. And that's been awesome because the staff wasn't so sure they were going to be particularly good offensively, looking at the team in the offseason. And when you look at the talent they brought in, every single one of them was a defense first guy who was maybe okay offensively, but they were a great defensive player. So you could tell right away the way this team was going to play, and you're seeing that defensive excellence. And so far this season, they're also really filling it up offensively. So they really haven't played a very good team. I mean, you mentioned they crushed Florida State. Like, that rivalry has lost all its juice. Like, Florida's won the last 4. It could be probably the end of Leonard Hamilton's kind of run there. So while it doesn't have the energy that kind of game would usually have, it's still, that's probably the best team Florida's played so far, and it's not a great team. So there's a really good chance, even looking at the schedule right now, that they might go into a game with North Carolina in a few weeks undefeated, and that's going to be their biggest test. And you're starting to see national respect. Again, they've been in the AP poll for a number of weeks, which sadly was something they were out of for a long time prior to that. So you're starting to see them get back to national relevance. And they've got one of the best players in the country in Walter Clayton, someone they were able to retain.
Walter Clayton, baby.
Yeah, where's he from?
Clayton, Polk County, man. One time for Walter Clayton and the Polk County boys, man. I'm a big Walter Clayton fan. Is he the biggest addition in transfer portal history with basketball altogether, or just with Golden? What's your opinion on Walter Clayton?
I know there was just some laughs there, but when you look at the best players in college basketball over the last, even again, 5 years since the portal really started cooking, really still the best players in college basketball are guys that were 5-star recruits, that were 1 and done or 2 and through NBA players. So they were still largely the guys that were recruited and played at the school that they recruited at. When you actually look at the production of the best transfer players ever, like, Walter Clayton's in that discussion, like, just looking at production. Again, at some point, like, Florida's going to need to, like, win an NCAA tournament game. Like, if they lose in the first round again and the Gators have 0 NCAA tournament wins with Walter Clayton, then, I think it's going to be somewhat of a, you're not going to be able to say, well, that's the best, one of the best transfers ever. But right now he's producing like one of the best transfers ever. And if Florida's able to actually go on a run here, which they couldn't do last year, it seems crazy, but he's actually, he's when you look at a lot of the players that were top players in the transfer portal. I mean, Kansas State's got one right now that they spent over $2 million for, which is a ton for a basketball player, and he's scoring single digits. And Walter Clayton's been doubling that up for a year and a half now. So Walter Clayton has been the home run of all home runs when it comes to transfer portal players, and now they just need to keep building things around him and make sure they can actually make some noise in March.
I know Darren Ravel's got the tweet queued up. How many dollars per points that guy is making in the portal?
Eric, I've got a question. I talked to Todd Golden this offseason when we spoke to the Sarasota Gator Club, and we talked a little off the record, so I want to try to not say it, but he was talking about going into this season that the coaching staff was going to be able to focus their energies maybe a little bit more because a certain player wasn't on the team anymore. He said from a talent perspective, and obviously they're kind of showing that maybe they're a little bit better offensively. He said maybe from a talent perspective, we're not going to be as good, but from a cohesiveness and a gelling of the team, we should be a lot better. Is that something that, again, I watch the games, I see us score points. I'm like, hell yeah, points, but I don't totally know about the cohesiveness of the offense and everything else when it comes to breaking down plays and everything else like you do. Is that something that you're seeing as well?
Yeah. I mean, when you look at last year, it kind of seemed like Florida had NIL to burn. And when a player got on the market, if they were the best guy in the market, Florida said, well, we better go get that guy because we can. So they really got one of the best point guards in the portal, and that was Zion Pullen. They got one of the best shooting guards. That was Walter Clayton. Then they got the best power forward available, and it was Tyree Samuel. And all of those 3 players played really well. And still, it was kind of a frustrating season for the Gators who couldn't win an NCAA tournament game. So you could tell that didn't really fit. And again, all 3 of those players are guys that are much better offensively than they are defensively. And again, does that match how Todd Golden wants to play? Absolutely not. So then you look at this year, there is a clear number 1. It is Walter Clayton. He's your gunner. He's the guy who can score with the best of them in college basketball. And then when you look at the additions they made around him, it was Elijah Martin from Florida Atlantic, one of the best backcourt defenders in the country, took Florida Atlantic to that Final Four. So they took him and said, okay, great. We have someone every single night. Elijah Martin can guard the other team's best guard. Walter Clayton can go chill off the ball, work on the other side.
Yeah.
They went and got Sam Alexis from Chattanooga, a guy who was not a great offensive player, limited game, but versatile, can play the 5, can play the 4, can switch on to guards and be mobile. Not a super, explosive offensive talent. That's why he wasn't on a lot of lists for top players in the portal, but exactly what you need. Then they got Ruben Chinyelu from Washington State, someone with, quite frankly, zero offensive game if it's not catching a lob. But man, he can block shots and is outrageously long with a 7'5" wingspan. So again, it's just when you've got that one key player like at the center of your roster and you can start to build pieces around it. That's where I think great college basketball teams are made. I think when you look at last year, they again, like the guys I just mentioned, like they were loaded with talent, but the sum was worth much less than their parts. And that is absolutely what you don't want as a coach. It's absolutely not what you want as a fan. And again, while this team is less talented, I don't think anyone could look at this roster and make an argument that they're more talented than the year prior, which could scare people because again, they didn't win an NCAA tournament game. But when the pieces fit so much better, that's something that I think, and you're seeing early where the Gators are just crushing everyone. That's where I think really good college basketball teams are made.
A lot of teams. Well, we'll ask this one first. Todd, we go back to Mike White, and we knew what he wanted to do, and he never really got the pieces in recruiting to do what he wanted to do. They just never got the guys to run what he wanted to run, specifically offensively. They would hustle and play defense, but offensively they never got it. Are we getting closer to a roster? Like, has Todd gotten through the portal and through high school? Has he gotten a roster that are we seeing, hey, this is what Todd Golden's offense, what his team is supposed to look like?
I think so. And that's why I do think there should be huge expectations this year. Again, they had a huge amount of NIL and you saw the results of that. They got the players, they handpicked everyone they wanted last year and didn't reach their ceiling. They were a chance. Absolutely. And this year, again, doing the same thing. Like they were able to get the players that they wanted and needed. So it's one of those things that if they don't make noise this year, then you've got to say like, well, what do you want? Like Walter Clayton's one of the best players in the country and you were able, and you knew he was coming back. So you surrounded them with the exact pieces you thought would support that. Like we just talked about. So I definitely think we're seeing the exact kind of team he wants to assemble. And at this point, there's obviously places you could improve. I wish they had that big kind of NBA 6'7" wing that could really guard on the other team's best wing and provide some length there. They're kind of a team of post players and guards with not a lot of wings at the middle. So you can still improve places. But kind of functionally speaking, I think this is exactly how they want to play with a team that plays two bigs all the time. That's always been a Todd Golden thing. They want to control the glass. They want to be able to play really fast. That's absolutely what they've been doing. They have the guards to really push. And last year, the shooting wasn't great. Elijah Martin really improved that, bringing it in, had his 8 3-pointers the other day, which showcased that. Yeah. So I think Golden's got he's got the weapons he needs. It's just a matter of putting everything together. And so far against not great competition, it looks like it's working, and there's certainly going to be a lot of confidence going into the SEC.
Yeah, they're making teams that they supposed to dominate. They are dominating those teams, and I had the same takes just hearing you talk about it. I was like, yeah, like the wing guys is missing a little bit. Like we're good guard, big men, but the forward position is a little suspect. 3-point shooting looks on point, like rebounding, everything looks on point. What would you say the weakness of our team, what we should improve before a big North Carolina matchup or a team like that?
So right now you're seeing the Gators just absolutely bludgeon people on the offensive glass, which kind of covers up a lot of their half-court offense that's not always great. It's much improved from last year, where I was, somewhat of a vocal critic, or people who have read my work will know that I did not think the half-court offense was very good. And that's kind of why they lost a lot of close games and lost a close NCAA tournament game, is because when the game was a track meet and they were running up and down, they were awesome. When they threw a brick at the backboard, they had the 7-footers to go get the ball. And that'll get you so far. That's really good for dominating in the regular season. But to reach a high ceiling in basketball, in college basketball, like the game is going to slow in big games in March. It's going to slow in the SEC tournament. It's going to slow in the NCAA tournament. And you need to be able to execute at a really high level when the game really slows down. And again, just to this point, they haven't really had the opportunity to need to show that. So I say it's a question mark because it was a major question mark from last year. And again, it just, playing, a good Southern Illinois team, a good South Florida team, like that's great. But these games have been, they've dominated with their offensive rebounding. They've dominated with their pace. You're not going to be able to dominate Alabama and Auburn and Kentucky that way. I mean, maybe you can, I guess we'll see, but you're probably going to need to get into a half court game and try to out execute them. So it's still a little bit of a lingering question mark from last year. And this is where you kind of hope that these pieces that fit a little bit better. And now that like, hey, Walter Clayton's your guy, that's the guy you want with the ball in these big moments. So again, what do you have schematically around to support that so that you win and lose games in the hands of your best players and not your third or fourth guy?
This might be a bad question. Wouldn't be my first bad question. Obviously Micah not available this year. How much better could he have made the team? I know, like you said, you mentioned they want to have multiple big guys and control the glass.
Obviously, like, depth is not even a really big issue for the Gators this year in the front court. When you really look at what Micah Hanlock did, I know he's a fan favorite, and this is going to sound like I'm a little down on it, but he was someone able to he was able to play a lot of really soft minutes. He played always with the starters at the start of the first half, always with the starters at the start of the second half. And then he was almost never on the floor in crunch time. So, he was able to, get those 5 or 6 offensive rebounds against lesser competition. And he was able to finish some dunks when Zion Pullen would make something happen in Spoonfield. So, and again, like, he was a player that last year was just his sophomore season, and he came from Marshall in a year when the Sun Belt was really bad, and he was playing against 6'7" centers all the time. So I think what really hurts, like I feel much worse for him at an opportunity where his development was going to be huge in his third year of college basketball, his second year in the SEC with the Gators. Like I my heart hurts for him. I don't think, oh man, the Gators would have, be such a higher ceiling if they had Micah Hanlock in. So, and that's also why I think that you can tell that it's amazing, like, modern medicine, man. Like, he's already dunking basketballs and playing against contact and in practice. They've said he won't be playing this year. So, like, but I'm sure if people saw some of those clips, if they didn't come out and say he's not going to play, people would have thought, man, he could probably come out there and compete. And because they have a lot of good players in the front court, I think that's also why they're like, hey, let's just not risk anything, take this year and come back full strength next year. And but I mean, it's also worth noting no one in Florida's front court is going to run out of eligibility after this year. So it's going to be a loaded group. But like, as the Gators have been crushing teams this year so far, there hasn't been any part of me that's like, oh man, but like, they just need Micah Hanlock out there. We'll see how things go. But we were still at the kind of start of his development, and I don't think he's someone who is someone I would have projected to be on the floor in Florida's biggest games this season if he was healthy. I guess we won't know, but we'll see next year, because hey, if he's already doing the stuff he's doing in workouts and throwing down 360 dunks, like I'm hoping that means he's somewhat close to 100% for next fall.
Nice. Eric, I know there's a lot of questions about him. I know that Todd Golden kind of said it's a wait and see, may happen, may never happen, but Olivier Rioux, the 7'9" guy from IMG Academy that joined the program, obviously, a lot of people see him, be like, wow, like, he could be a guy that could make an impact one day. But do you ever anticipate
Canadian,
him?
right?
Canadian, yeah.
Canadian.
French Canadian, right?
Yeah, French Canadian.
Do you ever anticipate him playing? Like, we were having this conversation over dinner with my parents. I was like, I just don't know if I ever see it. And they're like, well, why did they offer him? Like, well, he was also like 4 inches shorter when he signed his letter of intent than when he showed up on campus. So, but
I think
you ever seen
he was 7'3" or something like that, and now he's 7'9".
Wow. Yeah, and again, like, he's a preferred walk-on, so that tells you maybe something right there about the level of I guess risk or what kind of spot he's occupying. It's not a scholarship spot. Again, basketball is going to go from 13 to 15 next year, so like maybe he gets a scholarship just because it's use it or lose it, essentially. Man, that archetype just has not worked at the end. Again, of like, he's 7'9", so that's kind of a new level. But when you look at those like 7'4", 7'5" guys, like a lot of them get a lot of them start at mid-major schools because no one really believes in it. And then they transfer to the SEC or high major schools. And then everyone sees they're not good enough. And then they end up back in mid-major schools. You see that all over. There was a player named Connor Vanover who played for 3 SEC teams. And every single one of them was like, yeah, he's not good enough for our level, but people, every coach sees a player that's 7'4", 7'5", and says, oh, well, like, I know he didn't work there, but like, when I coach him, I'll be able to, I'll figure it out. And they just never do. And the thing about Olivier Rioux is, and again, these are usually the guys that are like, I'm talking about the guys that are 7'4", 7'5", like he's 7'9". Like it's uncharted.
Those extra 5 inches, Eric,
and
huge difference.
And you could see like, even when he was like in practices with the Gators, like he was going up and down once, and then he was taking multiple minute breaks. Like just the conditioning at that level is not there, trying to, be mobile enough to play the way he would need to get on the floor. It's also one of those things like Todd Golden has never been someone like he's never played zone in his entire coaching career. If you've got a 7'9" guy, you're probably playing zone. So like, do you want to change your entire philosophy to put this somewhat novelty of a player on the floor? I don't really think so. So, hey, it'll be a cool story. And like, if you have the ability to bring in a preferred walk-on, like give me the guy who's 7'9" versus the guy who's 5'7", and like, we'll see down the line. But no, I am not anticipating him being a contributor. But man, like the Rowdies are going to go crazy when he gets on the floor at the end of a blow.
Yeah, that'll be sick when we play Tennessee or Kentucky, and he gets a chance to play against Kentucky because we won by 30. Eric, right now looking at some of these projections, bracketology, those kind of things, Florida is most likely, I guess, statistically, according to what was I looking at? Teamrankings.com, which I guess amalgamates all of these together, like a 5 seed. Does that sound about right for you?
It's just so hard right now. Where again, like I said, the Gators haven't played.
We don't do that on this show, Eric.
Okay.
I'll one-seater bus, Eric.
Yeah.
One-seater bus.
We don't prognosticate on the future and injuries and what is this team going to look like. We put it out now so that I can call you out in a few months, like I did Corey about his Lane Kiffin takes. Say, Eric, you said we were going to be a 5 seed, but here we are as the 2 seed. You know what I mean?
So I'll give you 2 then. I'll give you my preseason where I said I thought the Gators were the 32nd best team in the country. So that would have been like someone like an 8 seed. And then I think when you're looking, if you were to ask me today, where they are definitely playing much better than I expected, even though they haven't played a lot of great competition, I think they absolutely look like a 5 seed. And I would also say if you look at their NIL budget and their talent, they should absolutely be a 5 seed. And probably better than that. So that absolutely should be the expectations, and we'll see exactly what happens. And again, in a sport that's so reliant on a one and done tournament for framing how successful or not a season was, well, we'll see exactly what that gets. But the talent on the roster is tremendous. The pieces theoretically fit quite well, and they're showing they have so far. So I know it's tough for a site like Team Rankings to kind of do any level of actual bracketology where there's really maze to work with, but in terms of all the metrics that have been evaluating teams so far, the Gators would be a top 20 team absolutely by anything that's kind of established what's happened on the floor so far to start the season. And I think that's absolutely a fair expectation. And if you get up to that 4 seed, you start to get the really good kind of regional spots where you hope to even maybe get a game that's close to Florida in the NCAA tournament. So that's got to be a goal.
I've got one final question. They are 197th in the country in assists per field goals made. Is that just the kind of offense that they are? A lot of putback shots, that kind of stuff? Or is that just a metric that is, you can have hundreds of a percentage points difference between 197 and like 52?
No, you nailed the big one. They're 12th in the country in offensive rebounds, and a lot of those are being put right back up for layups. So obviously those are not going to be assisted. And then you've also got a really good isolation score in Walter Clayton. And he's, when he's cooking guys one-on-one, you're obviously not going to get the assist. So that is a stat that I think you can look at. And sometimes kind of diagnose how an offense is looking a little bit. But Florida is just such an outlier with the way that they offensive rebound, and such an outlier in having an isolation player as good as Walter Clayton. So, hey, if the offense starts to really stall, I think you can point to that and say like, oh, maybe this was, that you had the inside track, you were the canary in the coal mine, and that was the stat. But I think it can kind of be looked at by the offensive rebounding.
Gotcha.
Just cooking
Love
with
it.
that line there. You were the canary in the coal mine. Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's why you get paid to write, Dan.
Yeah, no, hell yeah. Last thing, 3-point percentage, 218th in the country. Is that just because they jack up a lot of threes?
Yeah, they're 77th in the country in 3-point attempts. And again, we could get into the math discussion of like why them shooting, their percentage right now is lower at 31.6, but it's, that's if they get up to 33 or 34, which is going to be still probably in the 160 or 170th, but they stay at like 70th in the country in attempts. That's probably something they'd be happy with. And then the other thing too, is again, if you're going to be the 12th best offensive rebounding team in the country, which last year they were 8th, you just want to put up those long shots that make for crazy rebounds and give yourself second chance opportunities. So the Gators are also going to live with a high volume, like that high volume of 3-point attempts is again works totally well for how the roster is built. And again, that's something where the team could say, we've got Walter Clayton, we're bringing in Elijah Martin, who shot a ton of threes throughout his career at Florida Atlantic. Let's make sure we've got some offensive rebounders, and that was Sam Alexis and Ruben Chinelu. So that kind of goes into, I think, the whole kind of roster building where they can absorb some of those not great shooting nights, but they certainly are going to want to be higher than in the 200s. That's for sure.
Elijah Martin, shout out to the Owls.
Shout out. All right, Eric, well, we're going to let you run. Thanks so much for joining the show. Let everybody know where they can follow you and listen to your podcast. It's great stuff.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. All my Florida writing is going to be at Gator Country. I also have Florida Basketball Hour podcast if you want some more basketball conversation there. And the Twitter has really evolved. It's not too much Florida content there now, but if you do love just basketball and college basketball on the whole, Eric Fawcett _ is where you can find a lot of really nerdy coaching stuff.
It has taught me stuff, the way you break down plays, and it could be a Division II game in Portland, Oregon, and Eric is breaking down cool offensive sets and some defense as well. Definitely nerdy though. Definitely taking you to school in the classroom.
It's not for the casuals, but yeah, that's kind of the new market of things I've been getting into. Alongside writing about Florida basketball, I do coach professional basketball here in Canada. I do consulting across college basketball. So that is where the Twitter has gone a little bit, but yeah, believe me, the Florida stuff is still flowing at Florida Basketball Hour and Gator Country.
This has been a red bottom show. It's been a show at bottom. What type of drip you got behind them? Bowling shoes? What you got back there, bro?
Oh man,
Nikes. I see some Nikes.
Well, yeah, we got my wedding shoes here. So we got these.
Okay,
these will be the nicest ones.
You said bowling. You said bowling shoes. He pulled out the Kobe's.
You mentioned Darnell Nurse. Here's Darnell Nurse's shoes. Darnell Nurse, the Oilers just had their locker room sale, and Darnell Nurse also wears a 12. So got some Darnell Nurse shoes.
Some
regular bowling shoes, which is the Edmonton Stingers' official coaching shoe, gum bottom. But again, had to move some stuff around the office. So
that's what he has to wear when he's coaching professional basketball.
But yeah, I'm sure that was great podcast content for everyone that's listening and not tuning in. But
it's not red bottoms like Nick.
People watching on YouTube.
Eric, man, we'll Nick, you gonna keep going?
No, I'm good.
Okay, very good. I appreciate you coming back on, Eric. We'll talk to you maybe as we get a little closer to the SEC schedule kicking off here, man. But we appreciate your time, effort, and energy.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Take care.
Talk soon, brother.
Final 4 on the way, man. Straight up. All
right, guys. You want to get into a little recruiting before we get into the Florida State game?
Why not?
Or do you want to talk about Florida State first?
Let's do Florida State first. Why not? Let's get into Florida State. It's rivalry week. Let's not hold the people waiting. It's time to run down on these people.
Yeah, the Gators will face off against the Fighting Mike Norvells, who doubled their win total this week with a 34-point victory over Charleston Southern. They will welcome the Florida Gators finally again on a Saturday after those losers put it on a Friday a couple years ago for a 7 o'clock kickoff against the Fighting Billy Napiers and the giving up Mike Norvells. What are you guys' thoughts? You guys think that there's anything that Florida should worry about in this game? I know we all think that Florida's going to win. We're all going to project Florida to win. We are also, I just want to put this out there, the only podcast that all 4 co-hosts or all of the hosts said that Florida's going to beat Ole Miss. So shout out to us, and hopefully you're taking our bets to the bank. What are you guys looking forward to in this game?
A blowout.
I want a nice, healthy blowout, man. I want us to get out of that game clean. No crazy injuries to one of our significant players. Like, let's just get in and get out. I know it's a rivalry. It's going to get ugly, going to get pushy and want to fight, etc. But those dudes aren't even worth the fighting. Let's be real.
At all.
Just right. Sunning them. That's a hard truth to hear.
So, like, hopefully our guys can get that through their head this week. Definitely keep the same energy. Don't look past them and think this is just going to be a walk in the park. But at the same time, don't fall into their BS. Don't get yourself hurt trying to do something extra on the play just to get back at him because he's talking crap to you or whatever, man. I just want him to play some smart, clean football. And this is like what I was saying earlier in the show, that this could be a game for us where coaching-wise, offensively, we could play with them a little bit and kind of go through our plays and kind of just, have a routine game reps where you still practicing the stuff that you want to do that you really couldn't do in the games that we were actually fighting. So hopefully they put together a good scheme this week, man, and we can just let it rip, let it fly.
Yeah, two true freshman quarterbacks this week, too. I think they're going with Luke. I don't know how to say his last name, Dan.
Yeah, Kramahawk. Yeah, they're going with Luke. Yeah, going with Luke Kramahawk, quarterback. I think On 3 had him ranked in the top 50, made number 35 player overall in the country. Last year, he played a bit against Charleston Southern. Brock Tober and Brock Glenn is over in Tallahassee. They're going with Luke Kramahawk in this game. I think the Gators should be able to dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides during this game. I think, though, the one thing that I want to see more is I want to see a decisive victory like Kentucky, right? I want to see us score a lot of points. I think this is a team that you can score a lot of points against. They've only scored more than 17 points on American soil once this year, and that was against Charleston Southern, who is now 1-10 on the season. You might wonder, wow, Charleston Southern must play a really tough SEC schedule. They're in the FCS and they're 1-9. So score, I believe, was 0-0 at the end of the first quarter. So hopefully that is not indicative of where Florida will be. But what I want to see the most out of this game is I want to see from DJ Lagway. I want to see us obviously beat them deep, but I want to, continue to work on those intermediate throws. But I want to absolutely beat the dog crap out of Florida State. They've had our number for the last decade or so. A lot of wins by Florida State in this rivalry, and this is a rivalry game, and we know that Florida doesn't have necessarily a great record in rivalry games. So I want to see Florida beat the absolute piss out of Florida State. I hate Florida State.
I want to see Aiden Warner spin it late.
Yeah. You get your lies off this week.
Everyone here wants to see Aiden Warner spin it late.
I want to see him in the beginning of the fourth quarter in there already.
Because of
Jordan's not even waiting until the late fourth quarter. He wants Aiden first drive of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Trying to help you out. I'm trying to redeem Nick, man, for your birthday and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, save Nick's take, Aiden. I'm with, like, this is my most, I hate Florida State more than I hate anybody in sport, all my sports rivalries, right? I don't care if it's basketball, NFL, whatever. I hate Florida State more than I hate any other program, bro. I like them people are disgusting to me, and I want us, like, you're going to see me just carry on this energy this entire week. I started before this week even started, bro. Just my Florida State hate week. Come in, dominate, straight up. I think one of the growth things that we all gauge is not playing down the competition, right? Don't play down the competition. Come in, both lines of scrimmages. We just flat out are better. When we said it's week 1. So it's just not a fresh take for this crew. we thought the Florida State roster was terrible coming into the season, and we said we
did.
all marked that as a win coming into the season because we had some foresight on what Florida State and Mike Norvell was building
Best
out in
defensive line
Tallahassee.
in the country, they said. Silk. Best
Yeah,
D
Bud
line in the
Elliott
country.
said not one player on Florida's defensive line. I
Not
think
a
Florida's
single
entire
one.
defensive line could start at Florida State.
Yeah.
You know
All
what,
four
Clark?
of 'em.
Sorry to interrupt, and I want you to get back on your pedestal here. I want Florida to beat Florida State so bad. They have a meeting to discuss Mike Norvell's employment at the university, but
No,
then
when
they
did that
look
happen?
at their
That's my
P&L
draw
and they
line.
don't have the money to be able to do
What do
it.
you mean?
But I want them to have the discussion. I want them to think about it. I want them to ask the Spanx founder, see if she has any money. I want them to reach out to BlackRock, see if they'll fund, some sort of
Telethon?
venture
Raise
campaign.
some
And then
cash?
I want them to do a telethon. I want the people that led the cigar donation event
Cigar
buying
donation.
cigars to try to get them out of here. I want all of that to happen, but I want them not to be able to. I want them to stink. I want them to lose all of their players, and I want them to stink even more next year. And then I want them to have the same conversation at the end of next year and realize they still can't do it because they're poor.
Still broke. After all the fish fries, after all the church, fundraisers, Girl Scout cookie people at the Publix trying to raise money, they still can't fire Norvell.
Lemonade.
I want to
Lemonade
take and
stand doesn't
square
work.
out of the football field like they do when they beat a ranked team on the road.
I
or
may go
whatever
to
it
this
is. I
game.
want us to do it. I want us to do it and leave the piece of grass we took outside of the stadium. Know that we don't care, but that we did it.
Don't disrespect Ron Zook Field like that. Leave it intact.
Solo Cup Stadium, man. I'm contemplating on bringing me and my son. I've been talking to him about it. I said, you've been to Ben Hill, but you've never been to Ron Zook Field. And me as a Gator fan, I cannot have you live in a Gator fan's childhood without going to Ron Zook's Field. So it's a part of his whole, upbringing. So we've been contemplating on heading out there on Saturday. I got it on my radar, and I think we could possibly put 40, 50 points on these people. And I think this is an opportunity for Billy to really you're taking a couple of the recruits down the stretch here. This is a rivalry game. Fans have been giving you a terrible time with winning these type of games. And, just you want to win the fans over? Go drop 40, 50 on Florida State. I'm going to lie for you. I got some lies in store for Billy Napier and the guys if they drop 40.
And Jordan can probably speak to this too, but the new job, I talk to a lot of the players now, way more than I used to. And my thought was, and it's definitely, I'm an old man now, an old media hack being like, they're 2-9. Any chance you're overlooking them? I think maybe if it was like Mississippi State this week, or if it was Charleston Southern, but to a man, they're all like, what are you talking about? This is Florida State.
Yeah, they won't do it.
We've lost to them the last 2 years. We watched them celebrate on our field last year. They could be 0-1,000, and we would get up for this game. It doesn't matter.
Right. Best believe they got some females that they like in Tallahassee, so they trying to go up there and show up and show out so they can take something back home.
Take stuff back to the house, man.
It's a lot of stuff at stake, regardless of how bad they are. So,
was you there when we brought Kodak out?
Yeah, that was a good year.
Dog, damn Mullen.
That was a finesse.
I'm hitting a little Florida State, man. Yeah,
Shout out to
man.
Fred Johnson, man. That was that year, bro. What was it like bringing Kodak out to the field? What was that pre-plan? Did y'all know Kodak was coming out?
No, we actually. Well, I didn't know. I don't know if anybody else knew. I had no clue. He just showed up in the locker room pregame, and we what the hell? Yeah, he was vibing in the locker room. I was getting ready. We obviously playing his music the whole time. We're getting ready, getting crunk, woody woo. It was a good experience though, man. I think the funniest thing of it all was he came in the locker room after the game and he asked Coach Mullen if he can man, you can get me enrolled in the school. He was dead ass.
Kodak was not. That was a serious request.
He was not joking. What's up, man? I got a little fun. You can get me enrolled in school or what?
I don't see any reason why not.
Everybody
I saw Lil Baby just got a certificate from Harvard Business School, so why not?
Right?
You could have saved Kodak's life if we would have enrolled him.
For real, kept him out of jail maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Anything else you guys are? I mean, what do you guys want to talk about in this game? Obviously, Florida State stinks. They come off 7 straight losses, I believe. They have a win over Cal, who I think they won by a field goal in that game. Their 34-point win over Charleston Southern. There's not a lot to talk about. Everybody knows they stink. We want to see a good, fundamentally sound team. We want to see a team that's playing hard. I think that we've seen that all season out of this, well, at least for the last 8 games of this season. Is there anything else that you guys want to see besides maybe a redemption of the double reverse pass?
Yeah. You got a mobile quarterback and like Jackson Dart, Florida's defensive line. We get fast and loose with these titles. You might call Gerald Chapman like the bully coach. They've been bullying offensive lines, but Jackson Dart was able to get yards when Florida wasn't able to finish. And Luke can run. He's a dual threat quarterback. Don't let him be Florida State's leading rusher. Keep him in the pocket. Don't let broken plays or plays that you could get a sack turn into 10, 15-yard runs for the quarterback. It's a game where your roster is so much better than the other teams. The longer you let them hang around in their stadium and build belief, just stomp the belief out in the first quarter and then make them have to look up at the clock and go, man, that's moving slow. Can that move a little bit quicker? I think you're in a position at Florida to go on the road, get a road win, which you hadn't been able to do very well the last 2 years, and get a road win over a rival. So it's a huge opportunity for Florida. And like Corey said, I think the momentum you've built the last 2 years, the goodwill that Billy Napier has built is, think of it as like an astronaut doing a spacewalk. Wow, that's awesome. It's beautiful view up here. This is great. Losing to Florida State would be like, oh, let me get a better view taking your helmet off. Do not take your helmet off in space this week
Nick,
against Florida State.
I love that analogy. You come up with that right now?
Off the top of the dome.
That was solid. You know,
I was like Lil Wayne in the booth. I just heard the beat and I was like, let me just go real quick one time.
I mean,
you almost threw me off. You looked at me crazy.
Well, because I didn't know where you were going, because I've not heard this analogy before. Only to find out straight out of the dome. That's solid. I don't know if I'll use it, but I like where you're going.
Thank you.
Know what I mean? That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, no, I think that you're exactly right. I think that Billy Napier is his appreciation right now and the acceptance of, another year is wrestled on the tip of this pen here, right? So you keep balance, you win this game. Maybe it's no longer the tip of the pen, and maybe you've got something a little sturdier. You get the momentum, right? And we're going to talk recruiting here in a few minutes, but you get 3 recruits today. You get a chance to potentially flip Florida State's court or running back here in the next couple days as well. Shout out to your daughter, Corey. But at the end of the day, you have to win this game. You have to carry that momentum because you've got National Signing Day before the bowl game. A win here is maybe the difference between going to beautiful Tampa Bay, Florida, or going to Birmingham, right? With this victory, you carry that momentum through. You can kind of show those that are in the transfer portal, those that are going to decide during National Signing Day that this is a place that you want to go. This is a place that's serious. That's a place that's going to want to win. So that's what I think this game hinges on. And I think the more points, the more points you score, the more you win by, the more grace you get by this fan base. Because I know right now everything's happy-go-lucky, but that can come crashing down, just like the Boeing astronauts, not Boeing astronauts, the Boeing spaceship, could get stalled up there. So
yeah, I would say the one thing I do want to see, man, I want to see us be, sorry to cut you off, but to be DBU again, man. Like, I feel like our DBs have had a slow coming year. They're slowly improving every week, but I feel like this would be a game where we can go get 2-3 interceptions on the game, man. Just show where we're supposed to be at, show how we're a good defensive unit, and on the back end, it should be nothing to worry about. So I feel like this should be a game where our DBs can kind of build their confidence up going into bowl games and all that stuff like that.
Yeah, this is a bad football team. Like just straight up. I don't want to like just go into a rivalry game. I like to respect my rivals, even when they're in bad years. But they got 2 wins for a reason. Both sides of the line of scrimmage, we should dominate. There should be no reason why this is still a football game in the fourth quarter. They got a couple playmakers. I'm forgetting my running back name at this point. But Ja'Kai Douglas is one guy at the receiver position. Hakeem Williams is not that good. He's shown some flashes here and there, but doesn't have great hands. It's just not a lot of players on that side of the ball. It's one of the few Florida State teams I've seen over the years that just doesn't have playmakers. Nobody to really stretch the fields that causes a lot of like just scare. So we should come into this game, dominate. It should be a game where we run away very early and get just younger guys in to make plays. Yeah, I just, I always, like I said, want to respect my rivals, but I just don't see it. I don't see anything on that sideline that should. They're missing half of their coaches. They fired a lot of people. So Randy Shannon is the DC right now. That should be full. That should make it. Yeah, love that, man. Randy has been DC for I think like 5 programs in Florida at this point.
But he's got to go to FIU soon. He's got to finish his Infinity Stones, bro. Listen, Randy's collecting Infinity Stones. He's got Miami. He's got UCF, FSU, UF.
Yeah, UF. Yeah.
He's got to go hit up Weston Cookman in a minute.
Once they name Randy DC, that means it's the beginning of the end.
That's my boy. Y'all can't do my boy like that.
What I'm saying.
No, Randy Shannon is I think he was on our podcast. Nice guy. Oh, wait, no, he wasn't. Never mind. Who do we have? Who was the safety coach? Ron.
He's a better recruiter.
Ron.
Yeah.
He had the fedora.
Ron did not love our episode of Stadium and Gale when he was on. Anyway,
English.
Before my time.
Ron English. Yeah.
Ron English.
Yeah. So let's run through this real quick. Luke Kramahawk on the season, 29 of 56 for 362 yards. He is a dual threat. He's run the ball 42 times for 81 yards. Lawrence Toafili is their leading rusher. 413 yards on the season on 100 carries. Cam Davis looks like a build-a player in Madden, has 47 rushes for 170 yards. On the wide receiver side, Ja'Kai Douglas, 486 yards. Malik Benson, and then Hakeem Williams are your top 3 there with Lawrence Toafili right after that. I think they're going to throw a number of screen passes or outs to him. He's their 3rd leading receiver on the year. Defense not looked great this season, 24 sacks on the season. Just not a lot of interceptions, not a lot of really anything that you can take home. You can't throw an interception this game. They only have 3 on the entire year. So they forced 4 fumbles, recovered 2. So not a team that is going to cause a lot of havoc or create turnovers on the defensive side of the ball. So want to make sure that we avoid that. You want to beat the crap out of Florida State. I don't know if I can say it any louder. You have to win this game. You have to win this game big.
This is this Florida State team is what happens when you don't recruit high school well and you go into the portal. And then even if you are recruiting high school well, are you developing those players when you're getting these one and done guys from the portal? And if you have that strategy that Florida State has had, you have to hit in the portal every single year to continue having that success. They didn't hit in the portal this year, and now you're having to play with the guys that you didn't recruit for the last 3 years, 2-3 years. So it's something I've always said, Billy, listen, I know Florida fans wanted a turnaround, and we even pointed to FSU. Well, look what FSU has with Jordan Travis and these guys and their team this year with Keon Coleman and it was kind of like, yeah, they hit on the portal. You're not always going to. I think the more sustainable way is the way that Florida's done it, where you have to build a foundation through high school and try to supplement through the portal. And you're seeing the ugly side now from Mike Norvell and Florida State when you don't hit on the portal every single offseason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think they're going to have a mass exodus. I think they're going to have to try to do this again and again.
Darn it. For Florida State. Things you hate to see, Dan.
Yep. Any final thoughts on the Florida State game before we get into recruiting?
Oh, I'm watching Corey's camera focus on Joe Hayden's face.
Shout
I
out
don't
to
know why
Joe.
my camera is going like all type of crazy. It caught like my wife coming in, like it's just moving around doing this old little thing right now, man. But no final takes, man. We should blow this team out. That's just what it is. This is not a good football team. Freshman quarterback, defense has just been dialed in. So I expect Ron Roberts, Armstrong to just cause chaos with the looks that this freshman quarterback's about to see. I think he's going to see a bunch of chaos. I think he's going to see some fronts that he thinks rushing that may not be rushing. It's dropping back in coverage. He's just going to be a super confused guy. I think even though Krummelhock's starting, I think we're going to still see Brock Glenn, who brings in some legs as well. These legs aren't the Jackson Dark legs that we're about to see. So
Sneaky fast.
we should handle business, man. And I got to get the dope. Or Ron Zook Stadium, whatever you want to call it.
Get to
Ron Zook Field.
My bad.
Oh, it's not dope no more.
Well, Jordan, this is before Ron Zook's before Jordan's time. Right. I don't even think Jordan was in high school then.
No.
Florida had fired Ron Zook, but was letting him
like
coach out the rest
Homer
of the
Simpson
year.
Meme.
Yeah, this is 2004 season.
Yeah.
This is the Homer Simpson meme with like the granddad and all the kids around him and shit. Give it to him, Nick.
They fired Ron Zook, who was the head coach right after Steve Spurrier. And Florida was they let him coach the rest of the year. Florida's going into FSU. On the day that they were dedicating the field, Bobby Bowden Field, to Coach Bowden. It's Doak Campbell Stadium, Bobby Bowden Field at Doak Campbell Stadium. Mm-hmm. Ron Zook, already fired, coaching in his last game, gets carried off the field after the Gators ruined the dedication. So it is, I don't know if Florida State acknowledges it, but if you are in Gator Nation, that there's only one name to call the playing surface at Doak Campbell Stadium, and that is Ron Zook Field.
Okay, now I know.
Now you know. Jordan, when did you graduate high school?
2015.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Somebody in the
like
comments
7 years old.
Jordan was in high school in the early 2000s. Maybe it's just your maturity and the way you look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not really possible.
Or Taylor Jenkins Field, depending on how you look.
Oh, stop! Oh, jeez.
All right, let's get into the recruiting portion of the show. Before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to our friends over at Alumni Hall, alumnihall.com. Go visit them in Gainesville. Go visit them online at alumnihall.com. If you want anything for a Gator fan in your life, they're the best place to go get. So again, alumnihall.com or Alumni Hall in Gainesville, Florida. Our big day in recruiting. Today is Monday. So the morning started off with probably not the flip people thought it was going to start off with, but the Gators grabbed four-star linebacker Ty Jackson out of Loxahatchee, Seminole Ridge High School. He had previously been committed to USC. Yeah. He committed previously to USC. He said the proximity from home was a real factor in that decision-making. But again, between him, Aaron Childs, Miles Graham, and what this linebacker crew looks like, the Florida's really building out. The Florida Gators, are really building out a very strong core there at the linebacker position. But again, great get for him. Said that Austin Armstrong kept his foot on the gas the whole time, never stopped recruiting. And, just a huge get for the Gators. And like I said, probably not a flip that was expected maybe this early or today, but On3 has him ranked as the 95th best player in the country. ESPN has him ranked as the 54th best player in the country and the number one linebacker in the country. So, gentlemen, any thoughts on Ty Jackson?
Linebacker room's nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's just. I think he's a hybrid. I think he could play. Of course, he could put him at linebacker, but he also could play some star, a little bit of safety. He's just a hybrid athlete, man. I thought we should have landed him back in August when he originally committed, but he ended up committing after that Miami game. We got embarrassed in front of all the girls, so nobody wanted to commit to us because we just looked crazy out the Miami, jumping over on all our furniture. They was talking crazy style recruits in this stand. So we ended up losing out to him to USC. But you got to keep recruiting. That's one thing I like about this staff. They're going to recruit all the way to the wire, even past the wire. And you end up getting them in the transfer portal if you recruit them past the wire. But this is a Palm Beach County kid right here in my neck of the woods in Loxahatchee. We all know, like, if you're in Palm Beach County, if you know, this kid's the best football player in Palm Beach County, straight up dog.
Yeah.
I think you could play. He's so versatile. He's so quick. He's so fast. Just a see ball, get ball guy. You could put him at star linebacker. He could grow into that position. But right now, he could play star, safety, linebacker, anywhere, any of those spots. Kind of like John Boston coming out of high school.
A little would probably have to is going to have to add, no matter where he plays, a lot to his frame right now. 6'1" and a quarter, just 197 pounds. So I think wherever he ultimately ends up, he'll have to add some weight. But if you watch him play, he's just got a knack for the game. He knows where he needs to be. He's exceptionally athletic. He's a great tackler. 378 tackles in his first 3 seasons of playing football. 6 sacks, 15 tackles for loss, 5 forced fumbles, 4 interceptions. So recruited by the best of the best, holds offers from USC, Alabama, Georgia, Penn State, you name it, he has it. So again, this is one of the best linebackers, at least athletes, in not only just the state of Florida, but in the country. So huge get for Austin Armstrong, huge get for the Florida Gators defensive side of the ball.
Corey, do we know, is he an early guy? Early enrollee?
Yeah, I think he's an early enrollee.
I believe he is, yeah.
He's battling injury right now, so I think he has some hamstring stuff that end up like causing him the end of the season, but he should be healthy and ready to go for like spring football if he early enrolls. But
get him in the weight room, that's it.
You want to get football players, and I think this staff is doing a good job of getting guys that are ready to contribute early. He's a guy that come in while we don't need him in either position, whether he's playing star or linebacker. He is a guy that can, if it's called upon, can contribute early. Straight up football player, a gangster. He was a 5-star before we got him, right?
That's it.
Your old job, Nick. They be playing games with us a little bit, but before he committed to us, he was a 5-star, but now he's a 4-star. We'll take it though.
Yeah,
I don't work for a site that has stars anymore.
They're all 5 stars in your heart, right, Nick?
Maybe 6. Maybe 6 stars.
Wow. All right. I love that.
Save the 6-star for the punters.
That's right. After that, not long after, the Gators grabbed another flip. So again, Ty Jackson flips from USC this morning. Then Jahari Medlock from Atlanta, Georgia, Charles Drew High School offensive tackle, flipped from Cincinnati, who had been committed to since June. This one was predicted probably a few weeks ago, but he's a 3-star guy on all of the sites. On3 has him ranked as, and that's what we're going to go with because it's the highest number, as the 34th best offensive tackle in the country, offered by Georgia, Cincinnati, Georgia State. That's all that's on his website there. So again, Florida needs players in the trenches. They are probably, for the first time since we've been doing the show, but maybe even longer, actually finally have some depth beyond the starters. And they signed a big class last year with some guys that have a lot of talent, guys that you haven't seen this year, Jason Zandamela, a number of them. So being able to add a guy that's got a developmental body, right now 6'5", 275 pounds. So a guy that we might see in 2-3 years, but you needed somebody on the offensive line. You went and got him. Any thoughts on Jahari Medlock?
It's long, lean.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not trying to interrupt you. I know that, it's an offensive tackle that's going to need some time.
Yeah. Long, lean. They got a couple tackles. And I think offensive line is a developmental position. For sure. For a lot of these guys, they're the biggest players in high school. They're not going to be challenged physically like they will be when they step on campus. So I think it's the biggest position that you have to recruit with an eye on the future. And like, hey, 6'5", 275, you're not playing tackle in the SEC at that. So you're looking at him, if you're recruiting him, okay, I like that frame. I like his footwork. I like the
project a little bit,
the God-given tools that you're projecting. But Florida's got a bunch of guys, like you said, Dan, from this last cycle that they really, really like. They like Noah Portagine. They like what's his name? He was from Maryland. Forgetting his name. Freshman tackle.
I know who you're talking about.
Nobody else does, but that's bad. Bad radio.
No, I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up here.
That.
Maybe chat can help us. Chat,
help.
Chat said they don't get paid.
Fletcher Westfall. Sorry, there you go.
Well, yeah, Fletcher Westfall. Yeah,
Fletcher Westfall. They like Caden Jones a lot as well. He's a redshirt freshman, so there's a bunch of young guys. Now you might be a little inexperienced. Like if Austin Barber leaves, if Jake Slaughter leaves,
Brandon Crenshaw
Dixon's done. This is his last year of eligibility.
Into the workforce.
If you can get Slaughter or Barber back, you still have time to work these other guys in. But they do really like the freshman class of this year in terms of what they think that they got. They think they nailed all of their offensive line signings from last year based on what they've seen in practice.
Yeah, just going through that room real quick, guys that you might see in the future. Jason Zendamela, Bryce Levitt, who we've seen quite a bit this year, Mike Williams, Christian Williams, Devin Manuel, a transfer for Arkansas, who we haven't seen much of this year. Austin Barber could potentially have one more year. I actually think that Austin Barber has a chance of coming back just based on the year, but I know he may not want to be here, but I get that. Let's see, Caden Jones, Fletcher Westfall, Damian George could theoretically play one more year. Rod Kearney, who we've seen as well. Noah Portnajan. Cam Waits has another year. Could he figure it out? Obviously, we've seen Najee Harris, Marcus Mazcall, and Enoch Wongoy from England.
Bryce Levitt.
Jacksonville. Yeah, no, I mentioned him first, actually. Yeah. So a lot of players there, right? So you can afford to have some developmental guys. Still looking for that top flight offensive lineman. I know Jason Zendamela was ranked really highly, came to UF via
UF the future.
But yeah, so but want to see some more. But getting a guy like that, good frame, played good competition, should be able to make hopefully a potential impact for the University of Florida. Any thoughts on him before we get to the final flip? And then we got one more discussion on a flip after that.
No, I don't have any lies for the offensive line. Do think we need to like just up tick it a little bit. Like just I like that we're getting commits, and this is a guy they were on before. We entered this, I would say, situation where we in as far as trying to flip the scene with recruiting. They've been on this kid for a while. He ended up going to Cincinnati, and us losing out on him was because of how the season was going a little bit. But we gotta like just uptick the quality of offensive linemen that we're in it for. Rob Sell, we got 2 offensive line coaches. They just gotta recruit a little bit better, but do like that we're getting bodies, developmental bodies. I think the staff overall evaluates very well. So I don't want to say the kid's not good because they evaluate good. So
there's a lot
of guys that. I think we just uptick our ceiling and our talent pool of what we got on campus. If we could just get those guys that's higher up on our I would say want list,
the priority list.
Priority list, right? Yeah. Once you get down to like 4, 5, 6 on your priority list, I mean you missed out on a lot of guys. So you're evaluating well. And while the 5 and 6 guy on your evaluating list is hitting, what if you hit on 1 and 2 on your list, right? You know what I'm saying? So I think we just need to like just get a little better with closing and finishing the offensive line room.
I know for fans that maybe don't follow it as much, I know Solomon Thomas, a Florida State commit, offensive tackle, is a guy that's still flirting with Florida. There's still potentially a chance there. He's also looking at LSU.
A guard, right?
Oh, maybe you're right. You're right. He is a guard. 5-star, one of the top rated offensive linemen in the country. So that's a guy, Florida, you got to win these battles. You got to try to get them from Florida State. You got to up the bags, right, Corey? Up the bags.
Got up the bags.
And finally, go ahead.
Billy's Bowles right there. So that's what they're using.
That's what they said. That's what they said. And then finally, Corey, I know you like this guy, Moise Tunkara, who's a 3-star recruit out of League City, Texas, Clear Springs High School. Previously committed to Arizona, 6'3", 195 pounds, has 30 receptions, 455 yards on this season, 379 yards in the return game. He is going to be joining two other 4-stars in this class, Vernell Brown and Nashawn Montgomery. But Corey, I know that you're pretty high on this kid, and you think that maybe he should be a 4-star. What are your thoughts on Muiz Tunkara, which I'm almost positive?
If he ain't a 4-star, they gotta like just cancel 4 stars out. Track kid, top end speed, borderline 6'4", out of Texas. He's playing big league football out there. If you look on the tape, they're bracketing him 3 guys to try to stop him from going, up.
That was nuts. Yeah,
it's ridiculous. But this kid just got it all. Even when you check out his workout film, just a lot of agility for a guy that's almost 6'4". We've been judging the recruiting at the receiver position while we've been hitting on some high 4-stars. It's been smaller guys. So they've answering that bell of a taller guy that got the ability. I don't think this is no developmental get. Then I think this is the guy that could come in year 1, contribute, bring something to the table. A lot like I thought of Tank Hawkins and some of the other guys that they brought in that were polished but smaller guys. This is a bigger guy that I think can contribute right away. He know who Lagway is. He from Texas. So I think it's an overall good get. Just a great eval. I'm not gonna get caught up in the star ranking and who he was committed to. You can get caught up in that, but I cut on tape. I see it for myself, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything for this staff. As y'all already know, kid can flat out ball. We got a killer.
Yeah, it's the evaluations, and you've said this before, Corey. The evaluations at receiver have been on point. Chef's kiss.
That's what Billy made his money at. That's how Billy is who he is as a wide receiver coach at Bama. Like that's how he made his killing.
And now the recruiting is, hey, have you seen number 2? You want to go catch passes from him?
Yeah. Right.
2 makes my job recruiting receivers a lot easier.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot easier.
Yeah, man.
Nick Saban used to be able to recruit by reading his Wikipedia page. Billy just says like, hey, here's the ESPN film from last week. You want to catch his? Want to catch passes from him?
Like watch him shake off like 3 defenders and throw a dime.
And I think that's a good pickup, though, man. We had all that speed, and we got a great receiver coach over there at Florida. He's developed a lot of great receivers, like on the low. Like it's not been crazy flashy. Yeah, but he's made a lot of dudes like up their game. So I'm definitely interested to see, especially once he gets around all the other guys. Like you said, we got other great commits in this class. That's gonna push him throughout his time being here. So I think it's a good pickup overall.
Yeah, I think Gator's probably going to have to still go in the transfer portal, probably grab 1 or 2 guys there. But there's a lot of talent in that room. And, adding Vernell Brown III into that room is as well as Muiz. And if Nashawn Montgomery makes it to campus as well, again, you want to reload. But you're right. He made Ricky Pearsall a lot of money. He's going to help Elijah Badger make a lot of money. Shim DK looks great in this offense. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for those guys. And then finally, so that's 7 commits for the Gators in the last 2 weeks. They are now ranked 19th overall in the country. On 3. There was a couple of recruiting prediction machines put in for 4-star running back Byron Lewis from the 954 from American Heritage High School, currently committed to Florida State since September, was in town for the LSU game, was in town for this last week. The Gators right now have 2 commits at the running back position. Waltez Clark out of Tampa. And then they have the other guy whose name I'm forgetting right now. But adding a third, Chad Gasper at a full shear. So Gasper is coming off of a knee injury, probably may not even play next season. Should he make it to UF, you lose Montreal Johnson. There could be some other changes in that room too. You want to make sure you have a full stable of backs, but Byron Lewis from the 954 plays at American Heritage. He plays some great schools, ranked as Rivals has him as the 9th best running back in the country. So that's pretty cool. So potential chance there. So that would be what, 1, 2, 3. Would that be the 4th player we flipped from FSU? Should that happen for the Gators?
Called IHOP, baby.
Piling on,
Called
man.
IHOP. Just flipping pancakes.
Piling on. Yeah, I kick a man while he's down. Like it's just only right in rivalries.
That's what I want to do. Yeah.
I like I think the running backs we got right now are very good running backs. And I think we keep just those 2, we're fine. But piling on talent is just, and playing keep away is a thing that you should just do. That's what Bama's been doing for years. That's what Georgia's been doing for years. So to be able to pull this kid away from Florida State, I think would be a great get. Just keeping one away from your rival, and also getting one from a program like American Heritage, trying to build some type of continuity and pipeline down there. It just makes sense, man. And also, just you got Trammell, the quarterback, offensive lineman. We talked about with Solomon Thomas, running back, just grabbing a nice little core from Florida State while your rivals down just stings a little bit more. So I need that in my life.
Right.
I love that. So, guys, we get to the end of the show here. Any final thoughts before we head out?
Real quick, just question for Jordan. Where'd FSU rank for you in terms of rivals?
They're definitely top two. It's definitely between them and Georgia, just because I used to just love the Georgia rivalry. Like, the game itself is just an amazing feeling, but it's definitely between them and Georgia for sure.
Then Tennessee, right?
Yeah, Tennessee, but I've always got the best of them, so I ain't really too mad at them.
He's like, listen, I'm not bragging about beating little brother in a pickup game of basketball. It's just expected.
I love it. All right, Jordan, you have Song of the Week this week, so let me give a quick shout out to everybody. Thanks, everybody, for watching on Twitter or X. Shout out to everybody that is watching on YouTube. Appreciate. Before you leave, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share us with a family or friend, or hey, put it on during Thanksgiving. There's nothing better than watching us Foursquare talk about the Florida Gators with your friends and family, especially if they're Florida State fans. I do want to give a shout out. Missed these earlier to Tyler Bohannon for the super chat. Beat FSU. Anthony Beck, appreciate you. You're always donating. Beat Florida State. And then Cena said, shout out to Trey Smack. Still called him out and went MJ and took it personal. So
yeah, he did. He took it personal.
Trey Smack's having a great year. So
I called that boy out on missing like clutch field goals, and he just been bang, 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 back to back, just hitting, money makers, bro. I was definitely sitting beside my son at the game last week and was like, man, I just called this boy out, man. Here we go. Long 52-yarder, and he just split uprights.
He's
never in question.
Just imagine Corey's face is on that football and just pop.
No, he ain't thinking about me like that, man. I'm a supporter.
He is.
I just hold players accountable, man. Shout out to you for having a Ray Guy vote. Shout out to that.
I've had that for a couple of years now. Yeah. I mean, it's the most prestigious award in college football.
Who you voted for?
I can't do that. Can't tell you.
Why not?
The 3 finalists will be announced.
Can't tell us.
Do you get another vote after that?
So I voted. Everyone can vote once the 10 semifinals.
Who's everyone?
Everyone can. Actually, maybe not. I got an email.
Like I can vote for the Ray Guy Award.
They take a fan vote for it. So the Ray Guy voters.
So technically, you could.
So I voted for a top 3 out of the top 10.
Yeah.
And then
like being a
starting tomorrow night, I will be able to vote for the actual Ray Guy winner. 2 of the best punters, Alex Mascherano for FSU. He's one of the best punters in the country. He has a lot of opportunities, a lot of work. He's probably got a tired hip.
Did you vote for him, Nick?
I can't tell you who I voted for.
Why not? This is not the elections.
Yeah, you think Ray Guy's estate is watching this show, seeing if you're.
It's about the sanctity of the vote and the trust they put in me as a voter for the most prestigious award in college football.
Ray Guy's great granddaughter's husband's watching this show and is going to throw Nick's vote out. That's all right. Let's give one more shout out to our friends over at Brunt Insurance, Alumni Hall, Game Time Sidekicks, and of course Home Field Apparel. Go visit them. Go use our promo code. Go save yourself some money in this holiday season. Jordan, Song of the Week. What do you got, brother?
I'm gonna have to go with off Kendrick Lamar's new album, man. I love it from top to bottom, but my favorite song on there right now is Man at the Garden. That's been on
Man at the Garden is absolute gas, bro.
Yeah. But I love the entire album top to bottom, man. So if y'all got some time, he's real lyrical. Y'all take the time and dissect that album, man. It's a good 100%.
One. Good call.
K-Dot stole my shine. I announced my new job, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, here's 12 new tracks."
I'm dropping
Like,
tonight.
no.
Yeah.
No, not you.
He's bad. He's just saying his bad. I'm trying to get to the Super Bowl because he's performing, dog. I know he's gonna be a performance of a
it's gonna be a
lifetime.
movie. Yeah,
I'm trying to
in
get in the
Louisiana,
building
it's
in
gonna be
New Orleans. What? I'm trying to get in there.
Yeah.
Get
You
in
think-
there.
You think
in there like
K-Dot's,
swimwear.
you think K-Dot's on 106 in Park, whatever the cool show, Charlemagne show, and be like, man, dropped an album, but Nick announced he got a new job today, so that's why I'm like,
Yeah. It might have been in celebration of my announcement.
Don't want to kill my screens with Nick's birthday
Yeah.
dropping. You know,
Yeah.
I know what
Hold it off
happened.
for a week.
Kendrick Lamar was going to drop it on Friday, saw what happened with Nick, and he's like, I'm just going to wait for the big announcement. And then after that, put it out into the ether for I love it. All right, guys, well, we'll see you. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I don't think we mentioned that. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Give thanks. Appreciate your support of this show. Go spend time with your family. We appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week. And go Gators.
Go Gators.
Beat FSU. Bunch
Yes,
of losers.
sir.